I'm very confused why everyone in the chat is saying this is a Tucker. The title doesn't even say Tucker. What do you mean? I'm guessing Sin is going to tell us Bookworm about last night. What happened last night? Oh, I don't even know what you're talking about. Anyway, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another... Well, we're not doing Tucker, but welcome back to a Tuesday stream. Tim Tool stream. There we go. Tucker Tuesday Tool. Hold on. I got an orange sody pop because I wanted one. Zach just says, darn, I'm handsome. Good for you, Zach. Let's see what we got hanging out in the chat. Jessica Lowe, Sinking Further, Shiru, Mike Savage, Ravon, what's going on? A good show nonetheless, indeed. Tuesday Regard stream. There are some hot takes on this one. There's some very hot takes. I saw a tweet earlier from Tim where he was like, only effeminate men are pro birth control. What? What does that mean? And I asked, I'm like, genuinely, I really genuinely want to know who out here is anti-birth control. What is going on with people who don't like birth control? I genuinely don't understand the question. And everyone was like, well, Catholics and Christians. So I assume that means all major religions, because if a Catholic is something, I assume the Jews have a weird stance on it, and the Islamics are much worse. So, like, who the fuck is anti? But, and in this video, he's just trolling? No, he's not. Tim likes to just tweet shit to get people riled up. That is some hardcore religious shit to just throw out there. So I don't buy that it's a joke. I don't buy that it's a joke. I'm against birth control. Can I explain? Does it feel better or worse with a condom? See, that's a fair take. A hormonal birth control is pumping estrogen into water level supplies, fucking up the testosterone levels in males. Okay, but that's like, that's not condoms. And I assume, since Tim has taken his hard right, like tradcon right-wing turn, that he is also anti-abortion and anti-divorce, which we're going to get into. So just either don't have sex or marry anyone you knock up. I don't understand. I don't know. Condoms are fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I agree. Condoms are probably a good thing, actually. Maybe he's trying to get into Pearl span. Ooh. Well, we'll get into that in a minute, but I 100% think Tim Pool is taking checks from Crowder. Tim's doing the right-wing grift now hard. He is, he's anti, like hardcore anti-divorce. He is hardcore, all this shit. Hard anti-birth control, anti-divorce, I assume anti-abortion. But, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. You think the hair thinning under that beanie? He doesn't have hair under the beanie. Just shut up about religion. If you don't like the takes I have, you don't have to stay here. I'm having a conversation. If you cannot get over disagreeing with me on one thing, then you are 100% in the wrong spot. Yeah, he's anti-Rogaine too, I'm sure. Timmy Boy is bald indeed. I saw a lot of people asking why Tucker isn't on here. That's got to be over on Twitch. Tucker has to be over on Twitch anymore, because literally every single YouTube stream I do on Tucker gets taken down almost immediately. And it's not for It's not for policy violations or anything like that, or it's not for copyright violations. It just says policy violation and that's it. That's not the point. Use your brain, there must be one. What the fuck are you talking about? You were the one who got banned in my fucking Twitch chat for spouting off your religious nonsense. Don't get banned here too. I was waiting on Twitch for you to do a stream. I tweeted it out earlier. I have tweeted out the fact that Tucker's going to be on Twitch, and I put it on a community post, but I can only put so much out there. I can't, like, call you and let you know. YouTube has a hate boner for Tuck, indeed. Okay, I should not be arguing with, because I'm that tired. No, I'm that tired that's like, sleep doesn't really help. Does that make sense? I'm so stressed out. It'll get easier in the next week or two. My project should be done. But I'm just that kind of like deep tired, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining it. Like I'm that tired that's like in my chest and stomach, like kind of thing. I don't know. I don't think I'm making sense. Let me grab that. I don't even have Streamlabs open right now. Whoops. Hold on. Oh, what? The soul is, yeah. All right, you pieces of ass. Quit shitting all over the good time and smash the like button. I know you're there. Don't make me clap you one. Dipshits. Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you, Steve Dave. Not bad. Not bad, sir. Much appreciated. Mentally exhausted enough to affect your body. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I was, Simon. I don't really give a dang about the Crowder divorce. Sorry. It's not the divorce that I'm so much interested in. It's Tim's wild take on the divorce. People get divorced. It happens. Sometimes they're messy. That's fine, especially with public figures. If you live a life in public and you make your marriage public, your divorce is going to be public. But when you try to use the law as a tool to beat people down and hurt somebody, I forget what malicious prosecution. If you try to do that shit, then I'm starting to think okay, if this had happened in a vacuum, I'm trying to figure out how I want to articulate this properly. If this had happened in a vacuum, if it was just the Crowder divorce, like, all right, fine, no shit happens. If it was just the not gay Jared stuff, like, okay, yeah, all right, fine. If it was just the Dave Landau stuff, okay. If it was just the Daily Wire stuff, okay, fine. But not when all four happen within 18 months of each other. It's hard to think that the one through consistent line in all four crazy events is not somehow the cause, and if not the cause, the catalyst for all of this. I don't buy. It's like when you're watching a basketball game. You're watching a basketball game. Two guys bump into each other. One guy puts his hands up immediately. Hands up. I didn't do nothing. 9 times out of 10, that guy just committed a foul and got caught on it. That's what we're seeing here with Crowder. The stuff with the Daily Wire happened. Hands up. I'm just exposing big conservative media. They're all out to get you. The stuff with Dave Landau happened. He just wouldn't sign the contract. I didn't do nothing. The stuff with Jared and his wife happened. Hands up, I didn't do nothing. These people are working in tandem to attack me. And it's Call to Krill over on the Twitter put it perfectly. He said, if you think any of these conservative Inc. people, Crowder, Candace Owens, Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, if you think any of these people wouldn't sell you out in a fucking heartbeat for $1, you are so sadly mistaken. And honestly, that's putting it perfect. Let me fix this. This might be a little big to fit, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Boop. Oh yeah, there we go. Look, it still fits. Don't forget the number of workers quit because of NDAs. Libertarian is greater than concern. Yeah. My friends and I were talking about Crowder's divorce. One friend said the wife was picking on Crowder and he just snapped back at her. You get frustrated with people. It's okay. You get frustrated. You yell at people. But you don't make veiled threats to your fucking wife. Unless you're... Well, one thing that you really want to try to do in life as a whole, don't make a threat you're not willing to follow through on. Number one. Number two, you don't tell your wife to watch it and perform her wifely duty, whatever he said in that video, while she's pregnant, not wanting to handle chemicals. All about that. He said she's... I want a much more strict fault divorce because I've seen both used in type. Yeah. Yeah. Daily Wire does more damage to the right than left or than Crowder ever could. Maybe. Crowder is a millionaire. They had one car. If that isn't a form of control and manipulation, I don't know what is. You're... And Hillary... Oh, my bell's fucked up. Hillary Crowder was not taking a salary from Louder with Crowder. So all the money was going to him, and she wasn't seeing any of it. All right, we're going to get into this anyway. I'm rambling, and I'm tired, so I'm sure I'm super low energy. So, guys, I'm sorry. Please smash that like button. Share it out on your social medias. We will be having a Tucker Tuesday over on Twitch on Thursday. Yeah, I know. I just wanted to talk about this because all of the ridiculous fucking asinine takes I've been seeing about this. I just want to talk about it. I want to watch the video. I saw a 7-minute clip of this on Twitter, and my sorry, choked on my saliva. My immediate first thought was, how much money is Steven Crowder paying Tim Pool? Because we already kind of figured out that Crowder was leaking information to Pearl. So I'm just going to be very curious. I'm going to be very curious on what the whole take is with all the context. So if you would be so kind as to please hit the like button, share it out on your social medias is greatly appreciated. And if you want to support the show, you want to toss a little money in the busking case down below, that is also greatly appreciated. Kind of got fucked a little bit extra this month, so literally anything is helpful. And we're gonna try to outdo big conservative media. Do you fucking mind with your motorcycle? We're gonna try to outdo big conservative media. That's the stream goal. So I'm gonna turn this up to like probably 1.5, and if we need to slow it down, we will. Let's jump into it.
Then I worked with Canelo Alvarez, the boxer.
Okay, yeah, 1.25.
All sorts of different celebrities, and I have been in sort of social media.
Who the fuck is this?
For a very libelous article. I negotiated dozens of LittleMissJacob.com. I actually made the website on the way over here.
Little Miss Jacob. Okay.
Here on the airplane.
Oh, cool.
And really
6 months. So mostly criminal issues.
His former employee is shove Steven.
Oh, so he's getting right into it. Cool. That's the chick suing Taylor Lorenz. The TikTok lady who Taylor Lorenz fucked over. Okay.
Crowder's daily life and...
I love AJ. I was real iffy on Sean in the beginning, but he is solid.
You know, his arguments, but...
Tim is going to copyright claim you, I bet money. Yeah, okay, that's fine. This thing will earn 35 cents. If he needs that 35 cents so badly, he can take it.
Outside of this, you've got this alleged extortion scheme where Jared Monroe.
877 CASHNOW.
877 CASHNOW.
Knight of the Diamond Spoon, I need you to get a hold of me, sir. I have been waiting a long time. I need you to get a hold of me so I can get you for the thing with the thing, because we're making the packages to send out soon. If anybody else wants to join the Awoo Club, or the Knights of the Awoo, if anyone else wants to join that, you can get a package too. But Mr. and I are working on making the packages, so I need your information. But that was Knight of the Diamond Spoon. If my wife was named Hillary, I'd treat her like shit too. Shenanigans. Thank you. And please get a hold of me. And thank you.
His former employee is claiming he's being legally abused. Crowder says that he teamed up with his ex-wife and they're going after him. But there's like a bigger picture here.
Crowder says Jared teamed up with his ex-wife and they're going after. And Tim just believes that.
In terms of, we've got the Taylor Lorenz story. There's sneaky, underhanded. I mean, that sounds downright like intentionally anti-competitive.
Yeah.
You then have what appears to be a business dispute between Crowder and a former employee, where the former employee, I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but this is what I see, teams up with the guy's ex-wife. There's no reason for a former employee to make contact with the guy's ex-wife when he's in a business dispute with him. I think any lawyer would be like, yeah.
Weren't they like friends? From what I understood, Jared and Hillary were like, they were friends. Like I've got people I know that if they broke up, I would still stay in contact with the other person. Like that's my friend.
Don't do that because it looks really bad. And then of course,
so just don't do it because it looks bad. It looks bad.
Maybe I'm biased, but this is what I see. Teams up with the guy's ex-wife. There's no reason for a former employee to make contact with the guy's ex-wife when he's in a business dispute with him. I think any lawyer would be like, yeah, don't do that because it looks really bad.
Yeah, no lawyer is going to say, well, don't talk to your friends ever. Divorce doesn't cause friend custody. Yeah, I think Tim thinks that's how it works. When you get a divorce, you split your friends up too.
And then, of course, later on, we can probably talk about Daily Wire, Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro. There's been a lot of drama around there. But let's start, I suppose, with what happened with Steven Crowder. Does either one of you want to intro the drama around this?
Oh, you want me?
If we have time, I don't know how long they talk about this, but if we have time, Sean did an 1.5-hour video on the Crowder stuff, and it's very interesting.
To do it?
Yeah.
So maybe a week and a half ago, Jared Monroe drops a video where he says that he had all these problems with Steven Crowder.
Shapiro is losing his ever-loving mind. What'd he do? Real quick, yesterday, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this at the top of the show, but I got distracted. There was no AAA meeting yesterday. Drunkle was not feeling well, and I didn't feel like running a one-man show. So we just didn't have one.
And during the course of that video, he cites legal abuse. He says that he was served a cease and desist and a Rule 202 petition dating back to...
He called Biden a tool of Hamas. Level-headed thinking there, Ben.
To October, and this was a time period where different news articles were dropping about Steven Crowder that quoted anonymous sources. So, like, the timeline kind of makes sense for that. And then he also claimed, and this is like one of the things that I'm interested in, is that Steven basically forced him in or strongly coerced him into...
Yeah, he texted me super early in the day going, I don't know if we're going to do a show tonight. I'm not feeling good. And I said, hey, don't worry about it. It's fine. And then he texted and said, yeah, no. He's like, if you want to do a show, you can. And I said, I don't feel like doing a show by myself. So I didn't even set one up. Oh, where's the non-hippie sidekick? That's a good question. I didn't even notice that the stinky man was gone. Space otter rabies strikes again. I don't know. I haven't talked to Polly in over a week. No idea what's going on.
Signing a non-disparagement agreement based on the idea that he was going to take his social media account, his Twitter account, and that he wanted a carve-out to work at another third company after he left Crowder because of a non-solicitation clause. And supposedly, again, we don't have the documentation from Jared to be 100% fair. He was then blackballed later from that very company. So he ended up out of media for about 2 years. And then over time, he's, it's like been building up kind of thing. And this was his opportunity to strike back at Crowder, which, is a time where he is vulnerable. So he was raising money to pay off his previous legal bills. Plus, he said file a counter motion, but fight the presumed lawsuit that he was going to get in and try to get out of his NDA.
Oh, man, I'm just right off the bat disgusted by that. He's in a business dispute, so he teams up with the guy's wife, who he's currently in divorce proceedings with.
And
Well, I mean, that's alleged by the Crowder team. Like, we do have some messages from him to the wife, but like the team up, like I did a thing where I broke down all of the screenshots that they showed.
Oh, before I forget, I'm sorry. I am way all over the place. I need everybody who was in the McKinley Club and in the Stacker Club to drop me a message. I want to make sure all my information is up to date. I want to make sure everything is good, because last time I sent out packages, a couple got returned because nobody forwarded me their address. So I need everybody who's in the club. I don't care if it's recent, it doesn't matter. I need everybody in the clubs to shoot me a message so I can verify everything, please.
There's like a lot that is on the page that they didn't read to you, and there's also a lot of missing context there. And I would just say, like,
is Polly unresponsive? Break it down the way I can. I have not heard from him. Drunkle has not heard from him, but I know he has talked to people. So that is what he's not unresponsive. Just I have not talked to him. Did you see the NASA image of the eclipse? Does it look like a seraphim or what? Also, hey, it's been a while. And if I don't buy my own tickets to London and back every other week for work right now, I'd send you. Dude, you don't have to apologize about not being able to donate. You never have to apologize for that. Thank you very much, spoofers. Glad you're doing well.
Crowder's wife, who unfortunately we have to talk about.
Yes, you are Stream Boss. I forget if I'm in the club or not. You are.
To a certain extent, but I agree with you. I don't want to get into his personal divorce. She was involved in the company. From what everybody says, Crowder runs a family business. Jared didn't have a problem with her, but assuming he had.
I can verify it, but I believe you are.
A problem with Steven, which obvious, like why would he be filing a complaint unless he had a problem with them, but got along with her. Him reaching out to her after he finds out that she got a divorce is like a normal like thing, just to say, hey, how you doing and all that. But like this like grand Hillary conspiracy, I do not think they've sufficiently proven that.
So
I don't think there is a grand Hillary conspiracy. I think some shit happened. She does not want Crowder around the kids. And apparently that was a sentiment that Jared shared as well. That does not sound like a conspiracy. It doesn't.
I think it's important to like understand what Jared said in his video, because to be honest, I had just done some research about the whole
Yes You Are guy joined 1 year ago.
Daily Wire and Steven Crowder thing. I was just interested in it based on the fact that Candace left Daily Wire and all this stuff. So I'm like, maybe people need to understand kind of how.
Damn near 1 year, about 11 months, about a year ago. So yeah, you are in guide. I have Discord turned on. Hold on. Let me just go ahead and turn that down for now.
These deals work. I mean, there's a famous spat that happened with Dave Portnoy and Alex Cooper when she left. They basically found her, built up her podcast, and then the girls just went to LA and talked to Logan Paul, and they're all saying, "Oh, you got a really bad deal." Was it?
Ooh. My computer's having a little meltdown right now. Hold on. I got to get in and take this thing apart.
All right, partner. You know what time it is.
Keep rolling, 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 rolling. Keep rolling, 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 rolling. Keep rolling, 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 rolling.
I gave it to you because I like your entertainment. Keep up the good work. Either way, you are entitled to a package, Knight of the Diamond Spoon, and I would like to give it to you. I appreciate the 4501, but I would still really like to get you that package. So if you feel comfortable sharing the information, please chuck it over to me, and I would like to get it out to you.
A bad deal. They're getting paid like $100,000 a year plus some bonuses. I think they ended up making like $500,000 a year. But so, there's been things.
Don't do that.
Why? Crowder always tingled my douchebag senses, especially after those videos surfaced. I fully believe he'd be that vindictive to those who crossed. I feel like he does. I feel like he does have that feeling on the inside. You have don't cross me, blah blah blah. It like, but it's not like crossing him. It's not like someone stabbing him in the back. It's like, I don't really want to work for you anymore. Well, you're crossing me, you motherfucker. Is there a new package? Yes, we're getting one together. Ideally, I would like to get a Knights of the Awoo package, a McKinley package, and a Stacker package all in one go. I have to talk to a couple people about having a couple things made, but that is the ideal thing. And I hate putting timelines on this stuff because it never seems to work out in my favor. But ideally, by late May, I would like to have all 3 ready to go.
Things like this have happened in the past where a talent feels like, they've grown with the company and they're not getting compensated. So that's how I got interested in it.
This is why there are quote unquote bad deals. And I don't know if there's any way to actually navigate this, right? So I don't know too much about the David Portnoy podcast deal. What did you say the woman's name was?
Her name's Alex Cooper.
Alex Cooper.
But she had 4 episodes done. She had like 12,000 downloads,
Either way, we hope Holly's okay. Same. I do too.
I think. And then when it got to Barstool, then it was 2 million downloads. So arguably, if she never went,
deal.
Yeah, it was a great deal.
So that's the issue, right? Someone like Portnoy or anyone at Barstool sees a podcast that's not really that big, and they say, "We're going to pay you $100,000," which is a guaranteed loss for Barstool and Portnoy. Like we work here, we make podcasts, we do this. I guarantee you 12,000 downloads. He's just basically saying, "I will write you a check and give you my money."
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about this. The guy Mark in the chat was right. Quarter Black Garrett said Crowder's a douche. Dave Landau said Crowder's a douche. Owen Benjamin says he's a douche. It's not just Jared. It's not. It's all these people. His wife. Everybody.
And she succeeds. His bet paid off. And then they immediately go, "I have a bad deal and I'm leaving."
That's not right. So that's kind of why I was interested in it. And then, to be honest, I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about, Crowder releasing the deal points and all this stuff.
Oh, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to keep interrupting with these points that are just popping in my head. I am going to make a new or expand the current Discord for channel members. So the Patreon Discord will have channel members. I got to go in and I got to do a little bit of purging of people who are in there. But I'm going to make one for channel members for this channel, the Sin and Sass channel, and patrons. So that's something I'm going to work on. So if you want to join the channel members, you'll get access to the Discord at, we'll call it 5 and above. Sure. Fuck it. At $4.99, whatever. I don't even remember what tiers I have. Memberships. Am I not allowed to? Okay, I can't even look at my own membership tiers. Cool. But the $4.99 or 5 and above will have access to the Discord. And somebody said, what is the Knights of the Awoo? That is the 777.77. McKinley is the 500, and the stack is the 1,000.
And, and at first I'm like, maybe that was done in bad form, whatever. I didn't know the background of the whole situation. And I think I had seen the leak tape of Crowder, the ring cam footage. But I did think it was weird that Yashar Ali leaked that footage. Do you know who Yashar Ali is?
Of course.
So,
right.
I don't think a lot of people know who he is, but he worked for the Hillary campaign. Then he
599. That's not right. Is it really $5.99? It shouldn't be. Hold on.
He worked for newsome. Then he, I guess, slept on Kathy Griffin's couch and was evicted. And then he owes the Getty family heir like $200,000. So, I mean, this is like a serial grifter.
Well,
it is $5.99. God damn it. I don't think I can change it either.
I don't see how you could ignore that. Like, clearly Hillary gave the footage to him. I mean, that's the logical assumption.
In the court documents, the family has admitted to giving the footage to the journalist, like like Ali, and Hillary has denied it, like at least in testimony.
So wait, the family has admitted it?
Yeah, and I'm 90.
Did you see the link I posted? You cannot post links. You're not a mod.
9.9% sure the Hillary clan has admitted to turning over the footage to the reporter.
When you take a look at the statements that were released in the Crowder versus Monroe lawsuit, that they're trying to damage him publicly to force him into unfavorable divorce terms. And then you find out that they leaked footage to a far left media personality who, of course, is going to attack Crowder. And then you've got Jared meeting up with them. You've got him in statements saying when we team up, it's his.
I like how Steven, I like how Tim Pool is trying to make Jared out like he is some sort of evil genius just doing this to get one over on Crowder. Like, no, I cannot change it, son of a bitch. Okay, well, yeah, at $5.99 and above, we'll get access.
Worst nightmare, saying things like, "We don't want him. I don't want him near his kids." I think it's fairly obvious that Crowder's right on this. They're using a PR strategy to win a divorce settlement.
Here's what people don't understand.
I was just gonna say, see, I actually went through all of these documents and these statements.
Dude, he pulled fucking notes out. Sean pulled fucking notes out of his asshole.
Where supposedly they're doing that. And what's interesting about the email, the first thing that they showed, or actually the second email that they showed, which I actually printed up old school right here, is that if you read it, it's actually Hillary's father, crowdfunding. I'm not crowdfunding, sorry. I don't know why I freaking Jared's crowdfunding. It's Hillary's father summarizing what
he did research. Oh God, yeah. He has an hour and a half video on this. God. An hour and a half video on this. But we're expecting a French reject, a Quebecois, to not be a complete dick at the American arrogance and the power he gained in his position. Yeah.
The lawyer told him, like, if you actually read at the top, not just the highlighted portions of it. So, like, he's breaking down the 7 points from the lawyer right there. And at the bottom of that, what they're doing, which is not read by Gerald. In fact, Gerald weirdly says they never talk about the kids. It says that they like Hillary's plan of, like, going with a public co-parenting narrative for Stephen to try to settle the divorce quickly. So, like,
so are you saying the dad was going behind Hillary's back?
No, that's what they showed on Louder with Crowder, right?
Right.
But they highlighted certain portions of it. I just zoomed in and printed it out, and it's just the father summarizing what the lawyer told him. So people are like, "Oh, this is Hillary's family's plan." That's literally just read the email at the top.
But so what?
Well, if you meet with the divorce lawyer and they tell you, "Hey, here's how this normally goes," and then you summarize the points, and then somebody highlights a line or two lines from there that make you look the absolute worst and allege a conspiracy, that
the video Sean didn't break any new ground and was clearly biased. It's okay to talk about this stuff and not like Crowder or not like Sean. It's okay to talk about this stuff with an opinion.
It's not backed up by reality.
I also think that it's important for people to understand, and I know this because it was offered to me when Taylor Lorenz wrote the article about me, is that you can hire a law firm. And this happens, I think, I'm guessing mainly in Hollywood, but I'm sure it happens left, right wing, whoever it is. You can hire a law firm and they will actually hire sort of their internal PR crisis people. And those people can either launch a media campaign to help you kind of unravel something that.
And you know what, Gen Z? That's goddamn right. Right people need to hold their media to account because God knows the left will not. We don't need to be them. We don't need to be them.
You stick your foot in something and they help you unwind it, or they can start a PR campaign in order to put pressure on whoever, they work in side by side with the lawyers. And what's interesting is that they charge about $20,000 a month, and they also are.
Fucking A. You put $20,000 a month in front of me, I'm gonna consider it.
Are hired by the law firm, so that you actually are paying the law firm the $20,000 a month, and they pay the PR people. And guess what? The PR people, because they work for the law firm, they're under the same sort of what is it called, attorney-client privilege as. So yep. That is very interesting, because if you're paying for those people, which I don't know if they were or not, but it is very possible. Now, Brian Friedman is UTA's lawyer. So United Talent Agency is the talent agency that represents Taylor Lorenz, and I believe that they were working together. I actually know a lot of people don't know this, but I sued.
She really wants to talk about this Taylor Lorenz stuff. And that's probably why she was brought on to
UTA as well. And Brian Friedman.
They suck.
Yeah. Brian Friedman represented UTA. And it's very weird because Taylor Lorenz was tweeting about me negatively. And when I had already filed the lawsuit about UTA, guess who is retweeting Taylor? Yashar Ali about me. And I'm like, what does this guy know about me? Like, why is he getting involved in this? And so while I agree that you don't want to do guilt by association, you also have to recognize that this is a playbook a lot of times.
But I feel like you're kind of being obtuse on this. This is him saying we're being advised by a lawyer.
Yeah.
Then we know they sent footage to Yashar Ali. So let's break this down for.
Shit, I didn't even notice. Knights of the Diamond Spoon's generous 4501 has pushed us into over 10% to goal. Thank you so much.
you know, I don't want to be super esoteric here, or like try to make it as, yeah. Anyway, videos of the ring footage, according to Crowder's lawsuit, all the footage has been deleted in violation of court orders or something to that effect.
According to Crowder's complaint.
According to Crowder's complaint, for sure.
His company complaint, because remember, his company is also additionally suing his wife, her father, her best friend, and her lawyer.
And I think the likelihood that Crowder would present a false statement to the court is zero. Having been involved in lawsuits.
What? Why would you think that? What would lubricate Tim Pool to the fact that he thinks that somebody would absolutely not make a false statement to the court when they are the ones who are pushing forward the lawsuit?
It's like this. You don't do it. Your opinions may be, are obviously, like, I throw this out the window when I'm reading these court documents. Someone will say something like, it's at this point that the defendant made disparaging comments about me. It's like, okay, well, you know, whether they did or didn't, we don't know for sure. But the likelihood that he would submit to a court, to a judge, they did false statement to fact is I don't believe that.
In the initial civil complaint, there's always like weird stuff in there that like turns out to not be true. Like, so I would think if she was ordered by the divorce court to preserve evidence and then she did not do that, then you would think that there would be some admonishment by a judge.
No way. Dude, I'm sorry if I'm a little frustrated on this one because I've been involved in these lawsuits. Judges don't admonish. Judges will admonish you if like people who are in the I don't want to speak specifically to Crowder or Hillary's, I don't know, but having been involved in this,
well, it certainly seems like you're taking a stand on it.
Stuff. The judges look to the person with money, power, and no time, and they say, I can squeeze you out and put an end to this. The judges do that because the judges don't want to be involved in these things, and the people who are outside of these corporate...
Dude, that's what they do. What the fuck is Tim talking about? The judges just look at people with money and go, I can squeeze this out of you. What is he talking about?
Proceedings seem to think that a judge is this impartial guy or lady who's like, let me get to the bottom of this and find justice. No, the judges, because I've been...
That's the lawyer's job, Tim. What is he doing?
Involved in a bunch of these, both personally and as like through stories, but also through people I know. The judges are like, how do I make this case go away? What do I have to do? And so when you end up with an employee who files a lawsuit, the employee says, I have no money. I have nothing but time. I can do anything I want. And the judge can't do anything to me. And the judge knows.
Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. What is going on here with this? Why is this not working? What the hell is going on? Give me a second.
The guy who runs the company loses tens of thousands of dollars every hour he spends dealing with this. So I can end this lawsuit, get this paperwork thrown in the trash, so long as I pressure the CEO and not the employee. So in that capacity, I do not believe it would be likely that Crowder's company would submit a false statement to the court.
There we go. No. Yes. No.
Hey!
Who the fuck is calling me?
In that capacity. Now, it may be exaggerated, perhaps something. Maybe she accidentally deleted the footage. Maybe she just, like it was on a cycle to be deleted and she didn't preserve it. I don't know what the exaggeration might be.
It's a big no-no in court, like generally to delete
but
stuff.
I got to tell you, having covered many of these stories and my...
It was somebody doing a study of radio stations. So that's fun. I love the fact, and I think Samsung does this too, but iPhone, when a number pops up, it'll say spam risk. Okay, I gave it one more refresh. Let's see.
They got a dick, and it's gay! And don't
say the dick makes it cuter, because it doesn't make it cuter. That makes it even gayer.
Doesn't make it cuter. That makes it even
God damn.
gayer!
Streamlabs, what you doing? All right, will it work like this?
They got a dick, and it's gay! And don't say the dick makes it cuter! That doesn't make it cuter! That makes it even gayer!
I see his little lips moving.
Pictures of them with their little skirts lifted and their fucking nuts hanging out! I don't want to see that shit! They got a dick!
Okay, that seemed to work. JK, thank you very much. Sorry for the delay, pushing us up over 20% to goal. Money for the taxman. Oh boy, does he want his money this year. Wowzers. Thank you, JK. Much appreciated. And Hellpike, you were always one of my favorite commentary channels. I love you, man. Please never stop. You are one of the heavy hitters. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'll get back into the swing of actually making videos too. Just been a very rough year for me, but I promise I'm getting my feet back under me. I appreciate the compliment. I really do. Thank you. Listen to so many Reddit stories. There was a guy that filed a bad faith lawsuit through personal and his business. Thank you, Shadowclaw.
Personal bias, having been involved in like 3 of them. It is insane that people think these courts want...
Has anybody else been having insane fucking issues with the YouTube app on their phone? Because I noticed my battery was dying super quick, and I checked out battery usage. Like 60% of the battery usage was the YouTube app. If I pause the video and another thing plays, it immediately crashes the app, and watching streams on the app will kick you back to the beginning.
Anything to do...
How was your eclipse? I wasn't sure what I was expecting. I knew it would get dark. I knew it would get colder. I was not expecting it to get pitch black outside, and I was not expecting the weird fucking light. It was surreal. Like, it felt like it wasn't it didn't feel real. Like, it felt dreamlike. Wizard of Cause commented on my post. He said, did light get all weird and dreamy? And that was like the perfect way to describe it. It was dreamlike. I got a couple of pictures of it. I wasn't able to afford the lens I wanted, so I had to use what I had. This is one of them. This is an awesome picture. And then here's the other one with a little less exposure. You can see the sun flares. I just took this at a fucking driveway. Like, these are a couple of the greatest photos I've ever gotten with my Canon fucking camera and a 300mm lens. And these are some of the greatest photos I've ever taken.
With justice and accountability.
But we do have other documents of other like issues that the judges had, and Alex Jones, remember, had discovered.
Where I was near a park system a few blocks away. When it was the totality, the absolute totality, you could hear owls hooting.
Supposedly discovery issues, and the judge, like, that's a big thing, so you would expect some kind of record, or at least the order to preserve, like, you could insert that in there. Like, one of the problems I have with, again, the louder with...
Yeah, the moon blocks the sunlight. It's going to make everything dark. I didn't know it would make everything pitch fucking black, like it was night outside.
Crowder company complaint, because it's a separate lawsuit, like I need to keep emphasizing that, is that they, first of all, Gerald in his video cites court documents, but it's him alleging it in court. Like, just because I write something down and submit it to a court doesn't mean I'm not sourcing myself. But then on top of that, they're quoting very selectively from these various different portions of the court when they have access to that documentation. So
first time, yeah, it was my first time anyway.
In order to preserve, and then something to show that she violated that, totally fine. Like, I'm not an expert on how ring footage works.
Here's the issue. We gotta start from the beginning, because the issue I'm having with the argument is, we know they gave the footage to Yashar Ali, a leftist, which is absolutely going to be publicity damage to Crowder.
For sure.
And there are statements where they're like, PR campaign, hiring a PR guy, the lawyers advising them, the longer this goes on, the worse it gets. There's statements, whether they're snippets or not, where they're saying, where Hillary says, I wouldn't get as much in court, but I want more than that.
Yeah, but that particular statement is another one that's completely, like, if you read it in its full context, they're arguing about the custody. So she turned down more money than she would get in court. But, like, the issue was, and it's highlighted in the messages, that...
And what was really cool was, so the eclipse started at, like, 2 o'clock. And then by, like, 2:30, it looked like it was dusk out because it was half coverage. And I don't have my other hard drive with me here. It's still at the house. But I got photos of it covering the sun. But, like, it went from dusk to midnight in the span of 30 minutes. And when I mean dusk, like, oh, this is like 7 o'clock in the afternoon weather, lighting. And then it was just completely black. And it was weird too. Like, it wasn't like the light was dim. It was like off color. It was fucking weird.
They're arguing about who gets the kids when and all of that. So
but that doesn't matter.
No, it does matter.
No,
because
my point
Stephen,
is you said that these statements from the lawyer.
Yeah, this is a summary from the lawyer that they're taking as a grand conspiracy.
They're paying a lawyer for advice. The idea that they wouldn't take their lawyer's advice they paid for is
nobody said that they wouldn't. But
and then they did. So
but if you're like,
Tim does seem very proud of not really knowing what he's saying.
What are you arguing?
If you go to a lawyer and then the lawyer meets with you, which, by the way, Hillary's father should not have been with the lawyer, because this would have been attorney-client for if it was just with the wife and she wrote this down, because it's the advice between her and her lawyer. But if you go to a lawyer and they say, hey, here's how this normally works, especially in a high-profile divorce case, and they give you...
Dude, Luna, that's what I said. I said that shit to fucking my boys. I was like, you know, I could kind of see why ancient tribes thought that when this happened, this is when you need to start sacrificing people.
7 points. Then you put that in your group message, like whatever messaging system this was, to summarize for your family.
And without skipping a beat, Shelly's like, yeah, they thought God got mad and turned the sun off. I was like, of course they're going to start just throwing kids into volcanoes and shit.
And then you have somebody who very opportunistically, in order to deflect from the Jared issue, which we're not like talking on, highlights select portions on screen.
We got a hole here. They did it. It's a fact.
They did release the video. I'm not.
They did engage in a damaging PR campaign against Crowder. Fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
After Crowder talked about the divorce on the air,
right,
they then released the video. Like that did happen.
Can we back up for a second? Because I didn't change my...
This... sorry. This one didn't even show up. Knights of the Diamond Spoon. Again, I've noticed YouTube has doubled the amount of ads that are showing up. Dude, I have no idea what YouTube's doing. Creators have no control over ads anymore, more than... Do you want balanced or aggressive? You can do demonetized, balanced, or aggressive ads. That's it.
Like, I got my stance on this just from watching Jared's video. So initially, I watched it and I'm like, oh, this guy, you know, Crowder's getting basically karma for throwing out the Daily Wire contract and, you know, whatever. And I moved on with my day. And then somebody posted about Brian Friedman being involved, Yashar Ali, and, you know.
I put in a new asset for the pop-ups. Hopefully that'll work.
All these people wrecked by ETA, and I'm like, maybe I'll take a second look. And I watched the video again. You really need to understand the timeline that Jared describes. So if you're mad at him for getting Crowder for blackballing, all these, I think you just need to understand what he says. So the first thing I noticed is that he talks about, so he says, I think he was let go, he resigns from Crowder in 2018. And he says that he signed a NDA with a non-solicitation clause when he started work, which is pretty typical. Okay, non-solicitation is not a non-compete. A non-solicitation is just, you can't go and poach my clients, my advertisers, people, you know, you just can't steal basically company property and whatever. But the way Jared describes it in the video is he says it's a non-solicitation at first, and then he goes, well, it felt like the strictest non-compete. And then he goes, and then the non-compete in quotes. And so
well, he said that they argued it would be interpreted.
Yeah, I saw someone in the chat say this earlier. I, too, am very curious what Tim Pool's NDAs look like for his business.
As the
I need to clarify one thing real quick, too. You said Crowder spoke about the divorce first, and then they released the footage.
Yeah, the footage came out afterwards.
I believe didn't Crowder say, I could be wrong, but didn't Crowder say he addressed the divorce because he was asked for comment on the video that had already been released to the journalist?
No. He did that video, if you remember. People were like weirding out about it, but I'm like, if he doesn't want to talk about it, it's fine. Where he said that his only mistake was picking the wrong person. That video came out before the ring footage.
Right. And
then I think there was an additional...
Is this how people see Valine? Not far off.
Comment after
the reason why he addressed it before the footage was released was because a journalist contacted him saying, can you comment on this footage? And he went, oh crap, they released the footage, I better get in front of this.
If he said that, I'm not aware.
I thought that, I could be wrong, but I thought the case was Crowder said, I have no choice but to address this because journalists are asking about it.
I remember that too, I'm not sure
I thought the implication that he had made in his defense was that Candace Owens was kind of like dancing around the issue in public, like, you know, and that's what made him address it. And then in response, they released the footage. But like, that's the timeline I remember, but I didn't like point by point.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know for sure, but anyway.
So like.
That is true. Valine does have nicer tits.
So I guess Jared is saying this stuff. And then another thing that stood out to me from the video is he's like, you know, I'm being forced. Okay, wait, let me back up. Sorry. So he starts working for Crowder, signs an NDA with a non-solicitation. Then he wants to leave. He resigns. And then I'm guessing that Crowder reminded him, well, you have a non-solicitation clause. And so he says basically that would make it so that I couldn't work anywhere. Well, Crowder gives him a carve out, which basically means, you know, I understand you want to go work for, let's say, said media company. So I'm going to carve that.
Oh, hey, Fastonia. How you doing, buddy? Long time no see.
Media company out. You can go ahead and work for them. But in order to give you something you want, I want you to sign this NDA. And so Jared hires an attorney. The attorney negotiates that deal, gives him the carve out, and he goes on his way to the next job. Then Jared says in the video that he was fired unlawfully from this next job, which is also kind of like, Jared, do you have a problem everywhere you go? Maybe you should.
Look at JK's full stream boss HP. I've never seen that before. 123,450. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at that.
But not randomly.
Yeah,
He
if you smell crap everywhere, check it
but
out.
not
wait,
randomly. He did say that it was Steven who got him fired from the other job.
But no, he didn't get fired. This is what happened.
Well, I didn't say he did. I just said that's what he
Jared
said.
was
I hope you're doing all right, Fastonia.
breaching the non-solicitation clause, which can mean a lot of people are taking it as, well, he was talking crap about Crowder, and that's why Crowder got mad. No, maybe he was poaching talent. Maybe he was poaching advertisers. We don't know what led to it. So he sends, let's say Crowder did send a cease and desist. Then whatever the new employer could be liable for tortuous interference if he sees Jared breaking the contract he signed. You get what I'm saying?
I'll give you a quick example of what I think maybe the most likely is that.
Oh, boy.
And this is wild speculation. Jared works for Crowder. Jared gets a bunch of phone numbers.
No.
Jared then leaves Crowder, has those phone numbers, and then starts reaching out to people being like, oh, I know someone who can do this.
Does that sound fucking plausible? Oh, you got some good pictures? Ooh, yes, send them to me. Tortious, not torsion, yeah. Does that sound plausible to you? Working for Crowder, he accrued a lot of phone numbers, then started reaching out to these people saying, I know somebody who can do this for you. What the fuck? Do you know how wildly speculative that is to just make this up?
Then Crowder goes, is he texting our clients? Sorry, or insert whatever. He's using our Rolodex for a different company. That company fires him because they're like, hey, this is going to put us in legal liability for.
She must be really short. Tim is a manlet. Tim is a manlet. And his head is over the back of the chair. And she's like, I thought she was like leaning back all the way down.
Or basically stealing information from a rival company. We can't do that. You can't do that. And you have an agreement. You can't do that. I don't know exactly what happened. I'm saying that seems plausible.
It's very plausible. So he says he gets fired.
That's wildly fucking speculative to just go, well, Jared could be just contacting all these phone numbers he had. What? Okay, because that's something you would do. It's something Jared is doing.
Fired unlawfully. So that's in 2018. Now,
For Tony, literally everyone who's had anything to do with Crowder said he's an asshole. So it's definitely everyone else. Yeah, right.
In his video, he's saying, I'm getting legally abused by Crowder. This has been going on. He doesn't say it implicitly. He's basically, or he doesn't say it outright. He basically is saying, I've been abused for a long time. But the reality is that from the point that he gets fired from the job to 2018 to October of 2023, nothing is happening legally between him and Crowder.
She's not super strong on the air, but she has potential.
Now, you have to look at the timeline. So the ring cam footage gets released end of April 2023. Then in May, there's bad articles. June, July, August, there's all these bad articles. And then in October, Crowder files this petition to, I'm guessing, hey, somebody's leaking all this stuff. We need to find out who's doing this because this is causing problems, right? So they file this 202 petition, which basically it means...
Night of the Diamond Spoon. There you go. The super chat over on Tim's thing. Never marry a woman named Hillary. Oh, that is a great photo, Fastonia. Wow. Okay, are these just still not popping up? I'm going to have to keep an eye on it. Would somebody mind so much to throw a test slabs through, see if I fixed it?
That you have to, the judge is going to let you get information, deposition, text messages, and whatnot in order to see if there is reason to bring a lawsuit. Now, this is what's very interesting because in the video where Jared's asking for money, he's basically saying that he had to pay for litigation and he owes all this money because he had to pay. He didn't start the litigation. What he did is he argued that he didn't want to give up discovery. So in that thing, where Crowder's asking for a deposition and text.
The discovery that Crowder wanted was wild. It was insane. His entire Twitter account, every text message ever sent back and forth from him, anybody who has anything to do with Louder with Crowder, including people like Dave Landau, Quarter Black Garrett, his entire text history. Call to Girl for a $1 test. All right, it does seem to be working. There we go. Thank you. Cult, much appreciated. Okay, it seems I might have gotten it fixed. Cool. Sorry for that mix-up, guys. I don't think anybody's fell through there. I'm very sorry. And JK, we got yours because I opened up another screen to do it. Fuck, I forgot what I was saying.
Discovery. So in that thing.
Oh, he wanted his phone records.
Where Crowder's asking for a deposition and text messages and all that, which is, by the way, normal in a lawsuit. Both sides have to give it up. So right. Whether you're the plaintiff or the defendant. And the way that Jared's saying it is like, this is going to be abuse of my, what is it called? My privacy. And I'm going to get interrogated for. But when I filed the lawsuit against Taylor Lorenz, I had to give up all my text messages that say Taylor Lorenz. I mean, it feels very intrusive, yes. But I wanted justice, right? I also haven't been speaking. Have I been on podcasts? No, because anything I say, the New York Times would be like, well, Ari's hanging out with Tim Pool. She ruined her own reputation. You know what I mean? They could say whatever. So it's as a content.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know if Crowder's criminally guilty of anything. Being an asshole is crime and punishment of itself. But like that's what people are arguing, is that Crowder's just kind of an asshole. Probably not a good person. Probably doesn't care about, especially all the stuff that he touted during the Daily Wire shit. He probably doesn't actually believe any of that. He doesn't hold any of those principles or values. So that's what people are saying.
Content creator, it's not very fun to be in a lawsuit, and it can definitely damage your career. But the way he described it is just the legal process. Anyway, why was he fighting?
I don't think there's any criminal activity here.
Why was he fighting the deposition? If you're broke, why are you going to fight to give up your text messages and have a deposition? I mean,
because I don't care if I'm broke or not. I am going to fight with everything I have to not give up my privacy because you want to be an asshole.
Likelihood of Crowder actually filing that lawsuit. Most people don't want to file a lawsuit against someone that has no money. What I think happened is that Crowder wanted to get the discovery so he could see if other people were messing with him. People like his competitors. Because when you get that discovery, you can use it then to file another lawsuit against your competitors, your ex-wife, or whoever.
Probably the divorce.
Yeah.
He wanted to see what Jared was saying to his ex-wife or current wife.
Well, and Jeremy Boring was on the list.
He would have that. I think it's for potential other lawsuits, because if you look at the other people, because he has messages he cloned Hillary's phone twice in the divorce. So he has messages from her to Jared. That's probably why he sent Jared this notice. And I do agree with you. Like, it is the legal process. It is intrusive, but it definitely is the legal process that you get this information.
Then
but
Hillary's father or ex-wife people he doesn't have access to.
He wants the Dave.
Wait, hold on. That took a second to register. What did he just say?
Because he has messages. He cloned Hillary's phone. I think it's for potential other lawsuits. Because if you look at...
What's your Twitter name? @Sinatra_says. It should be in the description.
The other people. Because he has messages. He cloned Hillary's phone twice in the divorce.
He cloned her phone? Whoa. That's dirty. Holy shit. Cloned her phone twice. Wow.
So he has messages from her to Jared. That's probably why he sent Jared this notice. And I do agree with you.
Combed, maybe? I think he said cloned.
So he has messages lawsuits, because if you look at the other people, because he has messages. He cloned Hillary's phone twice in the
cloned
divorce. So he has messages from her to Jared. That's probably why he sent Jared this notice. And I do agree with you. Like, it is the legal process. It is intrusive, but it definitely is the legal process that you get this information.
No, not combed through the phone. Cloned her phone. That sounds illegal? I think it is.
Then Hillary's father or ex-wife people he doesn't have access to.
He wants...
Cloned. Okay, I just assume everyone knew what it meant. Cloning somebody's phone is basically you take their SIM card, you put it in a machine, it makes an exact copy of the SIM card. So every text, every call, everything that they get on their phone, you get on the cloned SIM card. So like... if I cloned Luna's SIM card I would get every text, Facebook, WhatsApp. I would get everything that he gets.
It's the like it's on the list. It's like Dave Landau, Jeremy Boring. Like there's 14 names, and then the 15th one is unnamed, unlimited, unnamed persons otherwise or whatever. So
I just love this. There's like the Daily Wire Crowder secret backstage war has been going on for a long time. Candace Owens was talking about the divorce.
That's a good point, Beb. That's what police do when you're under investigation for something legally. It was probably okay for him to do because she probably signed the same agreement that all the employees do because she was his employee, even though he never paid her. Tim still thinks he should owe her nothing. Crazy. Fucking crazy.
And now Daily Wire and Candace is like, wow, look at this.
Well,
You'd be subsumed with email. Dude, every once in a while, I will take a screenshot of my email app and just send it to Far because I have like 100,000 something unopened emails because it's like it's all my emails.
it's a very
Crazy,
niche
whatever it is.
industry, right? And the other thing I thought about with Jared is like, how many people would love to, be on a show and get paid a salary to do? I mean, a lot of people want to be YouTubers and you're not guaranteed a job in this industry. You're just not. And so if you go around breaching your contracts or being a liability, it's understandable.
That's why cheaters use WhatsApp. Isn't WhatsApp just texting, though? So, like, if I clone somebody's phone, I would be getting the same messages they do.
Why somebody might not want to hire you. And so it's weird to me that Jared is saying he couldn't work basically for 6 years or whatever because he was in this. I mean, the non-circumvent thing or the non-solicitation was 2 years. So what's he been doing this whole time?
Well, he said the non-compete was 2 years. The non-solicitation was
There
in
was
the
no
original.
non-compete.
He said the non-solicitation was in the original agreement, and then that was interpreted as a non-compete, but then he wanted an exemption for one unnamed company.
I want to add too, like he's under a non-disparagement and a non-disclosure, which he violated both of with his GoFundMe.
Yeah. I mean,
So now what's happening, I guess, is that for some reason all these lawyers don't want that
So he's just supposed to not fight back?
discovery to come out. So now they've filed even though Jared said in his video that he was going to file a counter motion against Crowder, which I thought was weird because I'm like, I thought you didn't want to give up discovery. If you file something against Crowder, you're going to have to give it. But no, he doesn't want it. He's not going to have to give up discovery if this thing that they filed with an administrative agency goes through, which is basically going to be a thing where they say, is this NDA valid or not? And I talked to an attorney and she said, in a way, it's kind of like a race for who's first. So if the administration's agency says the NDA is void before the tortious interference lawsuit moves forward, then he could get out of that because they could say it's a breach. But you have to realize that
I don't think she was here to talk about the Steven Crowder stuff. I think she was here to talk about the Taylor Lorenz stuff, but she's just going to get in there either way.
that these attorneys and the way the media works, they will blow something up to make it sound so crazy. When Taylor wrote the article about me, she included this one thing saying that I didn't have I was representing talent without a talent agency license. Now it sounds like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Well, a talent agency license, it really only matters if you are an agent in LA, but you have to pay $500, you fill in some paperwork, and then you get the license. It's not, you know what I mean? They're not like putting you through some rigorous thing to find out if you're, okay to be an agent. But the way it sounds to people that don't understand it is like, oh, she's violating. And I did have a talent agency license, by the way.
But she lied?
Yeah. Oh, she lied a lot. She lied a lot.
I think she has cognitive deficiencies. I'm trying to be very academic in how I approach that. But like the double masking and dancing and like, I feel like she's not
She's
well.
Skip.
I guess people think I'm, she'll
Skip.
Would work to stab you in the back. What I can say that I know is that based on how, I can't speak for Texas, but I can speak certainly for a handful of East Coast states and some in the Midwest. Right now, the way, like Jared just violated his non-disparagement and NDA and raised $92,000. I do not believe he will face any serious admonishment from the court. Crowder can do nothing in kind.
What? So just talking about the stuff was a violation of the NDA. So therefore he shouldn't get any of that money? Tim, the money's not going to go to you.
You had, they put out a statement, but it wasn't Crowder. Crowder's not on the show at the time. And if Steven Crowder comes out and says any word about this, the judge will flog him publicly. Because this is what I've experienced. Crowder is in a position where you throw a paperclip into the spokes and you can cause hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage. They can do.
Oh my God. And people in Tim's chat are calling Sean a simp for saying that Crowder's wrong. And it's what I said earlier, what My beautiful wife said a minute ago, I think Crowder is paying Tim. It's like all of his brain cells just fell out of his ear when this started happening.
Do nothing to Jared. The court can be like, we told you not to do that. And likely what will happen is the court will say, Jared, please don't do that again. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
And Crowder's lawyers are going to be like, this is absurd. Your Honor, are you joking? This man's clearly in violation. They'll say,
So, again, more speculation. You don't know because it's not in court.
well, look, the goal of the court here is to try and figure this out and end this, not to prolong the bickering. But if Crowder did something, the judge is going to be like, you knew what you did.
I mean,
Why do you think that? Is he trying to play it off like Crowder is going to be held to a different standard in the court than literally everybody else?
but he is doing something. He is suing him for $1 million.
Suing's allowed.
We know Jared doesn't
Suing's
have
allowed.
that money.
I'm
I
saying-
didn't say that was not allowed.
Right, my point
but
is-
like you brought up
That
this.
And God damn. No, he can do that. It's fine that he can sue him for $1 million. Tim, he's fucking making a point. Holy shit. Oh my God. Are you fucking joking?
Statement. So like my main
No,
issue.
hold on. I'm not. He's not doing something. What doing something was there is Jared is in.
Guys, smash that like button. Share it out on your socials. Streamlabs down below. Greatly, greatly appreciated. We are over 20% to goal, and we got to become our own big conservative media company too here, clearly.
Violation of an agreement he made publicly to raise money. Okay, you can't do that.
Well,
but he's not.
Tim could be trying to get signed with the Mug Club. I've noticed his views, Tennant and Tim Pool, are way down.
So that's what I mean by doing something. Crowder can't do something in kind. Certainly, Crowder can file a lawsuit, then cross his fingers and hope the judge actually does something about it. But what I'm saying is, in these court cases, what I have found, and not just the ones I've been involved in, the people who are the people with no money can break the rules, bend the rules, because the courts have little leverage over them. They can do very little.
That's true. Look at how Crowder treated Sven Compute. Yeah.
They can go to the CEO of a company and they can say, we are going to fine you whatever amount of money per day that will cause you to stop doing what you are doing. You go to someone like Jared and he's going to be like, I don't have any money. And they're going to say, then please just stop doing it. So this is the issue.
Yeah.
Again, but like
courts just don't go, well, you don't have any money, so you don't, well, everything's okay. That's not how that works.
here's the thing. They issue their statement. First of all, the non-disparagement would be between him and the company. So Gerald making a statement is like his public like response to that. It's supposed to be a mutual non-disparagement agreement, by the way. So like if we find out through the course of the case that they were also violating it, like telling his other employer something damaging about him in order to get him fired, then like that might be grounds for them to get out of the NDA. Like one of the reasons they filed the complaint with the National Labor Relations Board is that they're trying to get the NDA resolved. But like my main issue, and I would probably be way closer to you on this particular thing, is the fact that they didn't address the key points on it. Like I'm not the guy, Steven Crowder's the guy with Gerald who came into this studio and complained about the Daily Wire seizing a social media account. They were accused of that by Jared. That was something that they said that he was doing, that they were trying to take his Twitter. And that's
I want to see how Tim Pool is going to try to spin this, because that is a fact. That is an absolute fact.
one of the things they were leveraging against him. Hold on. But they don't address that. But they don't address
the point you just made before we move on.
But they didn't address that.
So
Tim, don't be a fucking dick because he's right.
can Crowder publicly speak to this lawsuit based on what I was just talking about? The answer is no.
No, he
cannot.
has signed a mutual
So
NDA.
Jared is in violation of his agreement, and Crowder can do nothing.
Mm-hmm. You said
Tim seems actually fucking mad about this.
in your video, you're like, why isn't he turning in the cease and desist? Because the cease and desist wasn't filed with the court. So if he has an NDA with Jared, then that would be a breach of his NDA. That they're
Look, Jared is in a position where he doesn't have money. He doesn't have any of this shit. But he's being held to this ridiculously wild standard because he's friends with Hillary Crowder. So he just took this opportunity and threw the grenade at his feet. There's literally nothing to do. I think what Jared did I think NDA should be illegal, first and foremost. I think that is number one on here. NDA should be illegal. Two, what Sean said is a fact. Crowder went on to Tim's show and in front of tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of people cried and complained that big conservative media, the Daily Wire, was trying to take his Twitter account away from him, and then immediately turned around and did the same fucking thing. I imagine Tim's an asshole to his employees too. Yeah.
only talking about the court documents that were filed, is what I'm guessing.
But from what I understand, the mutual NDA is about them not speaking bad about Louder with Crowder, the company, or Steven, or related entities, and the company has a mutual one about him. So the CEO releasing
What's up, Monkey? I saw you were talking about this the other day. I didn't get a chance to watch it, though. I'm going to toss you a wrench there, buddy. Sin, what's the best way to message you? Twitter doesn't give me the option to message you. I have information. Send me a tweet, and I will shoot you a message. Tim keeps saying Crowder can't do what Jared did, all because he believes Gerald when he did exactly. Yeah.
Statement.
NBA is preventing you from telling company secrets. Yeah, it's secret sauce recipe. If you tell anybody my recipe, babe, we'll have issues. You and I seem to be on the same page on this one. I don't know what the fuck Crowder's thinking. After everything he's done, it's gonna come public.
Like in your
But you're
interpretation.
allowed to talk
when
about
Jared
the lawsuit that
says-
you filed.
Yeah,
They wanted to seize my social media account. He could be lying.
Yes.
And Crowder can't say anything.
but the
because-
company could in their response
No,
to him.
no.
Yes, they could.
No.
Listen,
I'm sorry, lady whose name I've already forgotten, and Tim Pool. I'm going to go out on a fucking limb here, and I'm going to say Sean is way more educated than either of you on this issue.
again, I'm going to stress this as much as I can. I'm very biased having been involved in this. If I were in Crowder's position, having actively been involved as friends and personally having filed lawsuits and been sued, if this happened to me, and I remember sitting in these meetings with the judge and I said, I went out publicly and my company issued the statement, the judge would be like, I am now going to fine you $10,000 every day until you take that post down and issue a public apology. And my lawyer's screaming in my face. The phone calls I've been involved in were...
Okay, Tim, that's not the same fucking thing.
I'm yelling at a team of lawyers being like, how are they getting away with this? Yeah. And he's like, because they don't have money. And I said, then why can't we respond? And he goes, because the judge will fine you $10,000 every time you do.
Except he does address some of the allegations in his video. And like, so you're like, oh,
Sean's like, okay, everything you just said is irrelevant. Let's go back to the point here.
This non-disparagement, what you're saying makes no sense. This non-disparagement covers his ability to address allegations 1 and 2, but not 3 and 4, but also he could address 5 because they address various portions of it. And again, I'm talking about Louder with Crowder, the company, because they released a statement in response to this, but they didn't address that, and they didn't address whether or not they blackballed them. It's a simple denial if you're going to deny it.
So,
especially if your company you went on this whole screed against Daily.
I'm going to watch Monkey's video on this after I have to listen to... Yeah, Monkey, if you're still out there, throw a link to your video in the chat.
Wire about how you're creators first, you're against specifically full ownership of social media companies, including the ones you built, which is something that Crowder said in his video. He said it here on the show. Like a basic denial of that. Like that's the thing that I'm interested in. This whole thing with the divorce. Like I agree with you guys. I'm not that interested.
I agree. Fair point. Absolutely.
But do you agree?
Tim's trying to focus on the divorce.
That some of this has to play out in court. Like you can't just make allegations unless they're already filed. Like, I don't know. I feel like that would put them, it would be a liability for Louder with Crowder. I think they can only talk about what's been filed in the lawsuit. At least when I sued Taylor, it was.
So the issue with this is Crowder has money. Allergies are going insane. Sorry. My allergies are going fucking insane. It went from like 50 something degrees, low 50s, high 40s to low 80s today. My sinuses and chest are in full on revolt. I never had this issue till I got older. Now I have a prescription for fucking Zyrtec. Shit is ridiculous. Anyway, I need to get an air purifier in here. Fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. I fell into a coughing fit. Hold on.
Unless they're already filed. Like, I don't know. I feel like that would put them...
Oh, the thing is Crowder has all the money. So he can tie people up in court. He can hire lawyers. He can do all of this stuff because he has the bankroll to fucking do it. He has the bankroll to make Jared, Hillary, Landau, Garrett. He has the bankroll to make all these people's lives hell. And just because Jared doesn't have money or Hillary didn't, Shelley was right. Hillary should be back suing for wages owed while she didn't take a salary while she was an employee.
It would be a liability for...
Crowder thinks that he can monetarily bully people with just dragging him in the courts.
For Louder with Crowder. I think they can only talk about what's been filed in the lawsuit. At least when I sued Taylor, it was like I was advised to only talk about the things that were already publicly filed.
Yeah, you're advised to say nothing. I 100% agree with that.
I know.
Like, period.
I have one, Zach. I don't remember where it's at, but I have one. Well, it's actually Monkey. Funny enough, it was Monkey that convinced me to buy one. I think it's in my attic somewhere. I think I'm going to hook that up here.
Probably even better to just say nothing.
Even about anything filed, you're advised to say nothing in any kind of litigation. Like, that's 100% true.
Here's interesting thing, and why I'm probably also biased is because I had this talent agency. I was bootstrapped. I didn't have a lot of money, but there was a point where TikTok people were making a lot of money because during the pandemic, there was no music touring in Hollywood. There was no making movies or television. So I basically had a monopoly on these people that were going to be very, very successful. And the talent agents saw that I had that, and they basically came to me and they're like, okay, Ari, you've found all these people. You developed them. I've spent my own money to do this. And so now let's say I had 85 clients. We're going to come in. We're UTA. We're the best. We're going to come in and you have them signed for 20%. Okay, cool. We'll do a deal with you. We'll take 10%. You can take 10%. And by the way, we don't want you we don't want you to talk to L'Oreal or like Chipotle. We'll take all those incoming deals for you. And I was like, well, no, I mean, thank you, but no, thank you. I'm like, I already kind of did the work. And so I'm going to go ahead but if you guys want to bring a deal, if you want to go out and be, the hunters and go hunt a deal, I'll give you the 10%. And because I denied working with them, the 10%.
Are you guys trying to get fucked up every time she says Taylor drink?
Then all of a sudden they take me down. And what did they do?
Ari's coverage on this is just insane. I'm sorry. I don't know who Ari is, but if you send me a link, I'll watch it a little bit later.
This is what I think they did. Because at first I was mad at the influencers, and I call them kids, but they were over 18. I think it's kind of like a Jared situation. They call you up and they're like, oh my gosh, you're in a terrible deal. I mean, this woman, Ari,
is this? Oh,
she's the worst. And did you know she doesn't even have a talent agency license? Well, I did, but you know what I'm saying? And they're like, and then they explain to these 18-year-olds how.
Ari Gold, dude, I have been so unplugged from this YouTube stuff for like the past year. I am woefully behind on the new heavy hitters.
The law works, and I have these teenagers yelling at me, being like, "Did you know that if you don't have a talent agency license, so all your documents are invalid?" And I'm like, "Are you an attorney?" So they're basically manipulating the people at the top. These people, let's just say it's YouTube.
I say the last year. That's not even the case. It's when Mom fell and broke her hip that I really started not focusing on this the way I should.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. They're manipulating these people because they're like emboldening them. Oh, you don't need Ari. We could take you here. So I don't know if that happened, but I think it's possible. At least it happened in my situation.
Man, it's really hard to beat a good orange soda. It wasn't Crush. The superior soda was a Sunkist, but I'll take it. What is Sean's channel? It's Actual Justice Warrior? Yes.
I'm not sure how they're comparable because you had like legitimate talent and like UTA, like it is a conflict of interest. You have these attorneys and journalists that are represented by a talent agency that wants to poach your clients. So they're doing all these hit pieces.
They'll do whatever to take you out.
Jared, like let's be honest, he was not this like, fantastic talent that they were trying to poach. He hasn't been in content for like 6 years.
They used him to get what they wanted, which was to destroy his reputation, hurt his divorce proceedings. That's what my opinion is about the matter.
I mean, yeah, what about the portions of the emails where they basically say a PR campaign against Crowder could pressure him into getting, like, effectively paraphrasing, we can win if we launch a PR campaign?
I mean, when you're suing a media figure, like, there is a chance that this goes out into the public, and you should have a PR strategy. Like,
that just kind of seems bring back the OG React content nOoOo. I'm going to do something. I'm going to bring back uploaded videos because I fucking have to. I have been... Okay, I have a little stream of consciousness here. So my mom fell, broke her hip. She needed around-the-clock care. Everything, and that was a whole thing. Since that happened, I have been so disconnected. Then she passed, and I don't know how you get over something like that, but I don't think I'm doing it well. And everything has just been like on the back burner for me. And I've picked up all these projects because I put everything on the back burner, all my YouTube stuff and stuff like that. It started to heavily affect my income on top of the, collapsing economy. So I have not been as focused on this stuff as I should have. I love you, but you have been slacking. Thanks, dude. Appreciate that. So I'm gonna start doing stuff with more conviction, but the issue is it's the time of it between doing all this, doing my side stuff, and 3 kids. It's just going to be time. I'm gonna find a way to work it in. I am, but saying Wizard is right, even though he's a fucking dickhead. I have been slacking. I have not been doing what I need to do, and I have been feeling it, not only monetarily, which is a whole separate conversation, but in myself. I feel unsatisfied with the products I've been putting out. So I'm gonna start doing better. That's all I can say. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to get back to what I have been doing, what I did do, because I love doing it. There you go. End of rant.
But I mean, there's a difference between it may get out into the public and we want to intentionally drive this to the public sphere to damage his reputation.
Look, a lot of those messages are from Hillary's father, and they're like.
And I'm not gonna lie, the main channel, the Sinatra Says channel, getting fucked, was a huge fucking hit.
I'm not saying he acted appropriately in that, but he is the father. Like, you would expect a relative to be on the side of the person. So it's like messages from him saying, like, I want to have people that are sympathetic to me, which I have that full message too. And and even in there, they add the caveat that it's like, I don't think the terms are unreasonable in that message, but yeah, like, I don't like this. I don't like the nasty divorce. But like there's 2 separate issues that were kind of like merged. Like, I think the strategy of Gerald, the CEO, is to start a fire in a corner, but then fart in the other corner, so you smell the fart and don't notice the fire. Because like a lot of this has nothing to do with the original issues or what even interested me in like Jared's story. Like, I want to know about the non-compete. Like, I hear a lot that this is common in the industry, but it's actually not that common in niche industries like media.
So then let's just put to bed that it is reasonable to believe that the divorce proceedings were weaponized publicly against Crowder. Jared's involved in that, and once we can agree, there's no reason. I don't understand. Why are you defending?
Involved in what?
So just agree with me, and then we can stop arguing. What the fuck, Tim? Did you think about that before you said it out loud? Happened about 8 months before Biden got elected, I think. No. The main channel got demonetized, and that's what killed it back in like 2019, 2018.
Way that he doesn't want Stephen to have his kids after he accused him of abuse.
Slow down. So the Hillary camp is saying, let's damage him publicly.
That's what killed it, because if it's not making the money that it was, there's no reason for them to waste the bandwidth giving a channel. Because before the main channel got demonetized, it was getting 150, 200,000 views per video, some lower, some higher, et cetera. But it got demonetized. That shit dropped to like 20,000 views almost instantly.
Then there's communications with Jared where they're like, hey, we're teaming up.
Well, Jared's saying that he wants to
if you're saying we shouldn't conflate those things, I agree. Let's accept that on that side, the divorce proceedings are being weaponized.
But I don't even know that's the case from the little isolated pieces of messages that they put forward and the allegations from their complaints. Yeah, the family did that. They said that they did that in response to Crowder talking about the divorce.
Doesn't matter what they did it for. It happened.
Yeah, okay.
They have emails saying PR campaign. Okay, then they say, yes, we sent the footage to an opposition journalist who will attack Steven Crowder. I don't know why you're defending that, or why are we arguing it happened?
I understand that happened.
Now we can agree that happened. They did it.
But that's not Jared sending the footage to them.
I didn't say that.
But you're saying, why don't you just accept that based on this message?
Because you keep defending the family, even though we're trying to talk about Jared, and then you say you want to stop. You want to stop combining these things.
Divorce is. I mean, look, divorce is nasty, and people act nasty in the divorce. What I want to know with the Jared issue is, I actually want to hear his side of the story. We don't have his full side.
So my point is,
and for the divorce, we're getting excerpts from the Crowder side, who again, if you're accused of engaging in lawfare against somebody, and you're also suing with the company your ex-wife and her friend and her parents, like that does not lend, and her attorney, that does not lend to your argument.
So. My point is, I feel like you're being...
If you're waging a PR campaign, you have to realize how it looks. Going after somebody 3 or 4 times when they have no money. You acknowledge they have no money, but you're still going after them.
obtuse in trying to come up with reasons to defend the
No, JK, it was funny enough. The Crowder shit, the big demonetization that happened with Crowder.
divorce issue when we could just agree we know they sent the footage.
And there's a whole nother can of worms with that. I was in contact, this was so many years ago now, it doesn't matter. I was in contact with Quarter Black Garrett. They were getting lawyers to get everyone's stuff back, blah, blah, blah. But then all that contact got cut off. That never happened. He got his monetization back through lawsuits, and that was it. Done.
We know they wanted a PR campaign. End of story. Now let's talk about what Jared is doing.
Yeah, I'm not, again, well, the reason that I'm in a disagreement with you is because that, like, worst case scenario, they're both doing this to each other in the public. I think the lawsuit from the company against Hillary's family and her, on top of the divorce for $1 million, is very unusual. Like, and like nobody's pointing that out.
What do you mean?
That Louder with Crowder, the company, is suing Hillary, her family.
Well, because they're messing with his business. I mean, the only way that you can find out.
First of all, they publish footage of Steven Crowder. Like, do we deny that that's him in the footage?
You said the family?
Yeah, that footage published of Steven Crowder. Do we deny that that's him in the video?
Of course not.
Yeah, it's him. So like,
so he should
their argument in the case.
You guys are blowing up back in the day. I think you're one of the ones left standing with It's a Gundam. Oh, yeah, once the money stopped, a lot of people just fucked off. They just stopped doing it.
In their filing is that
and I know what I was making back then with those millions of views a month and all that shit, and I was on the low end of that ladder. I wasn't making a killing. I would, because I was a retard, didn't know you could put mid-rolls in videos and all that shit, and I would never fight once something turned yellow. I would never fight to get it back. But I was making, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 a month just on ad revenue. That didn't count super chats. That didn't count Patreon. Yeah, that's a good chunk of change, man.
cause people to, because their Rumble deal is based on subscribers or whatever, to unsubscribe, and that hurts the.
It's true.
Yeah, but that's
so
not,
he should sue them for it.
But that's not something you necessarily have grounds to sue over.
That's what it was. It was the Carlos Maza thing.
If
Yes,
I see something,
Yes, it is.
if I see you do something bad in public, that's 100% you. Or if something comes out that's bad in public and that makes me unsubscribe,
You can sue
the
them for
person
it,
who
yes.
revealed it is not necessarily liable for that.
Okay, this is really weird to me. It feels like you are emotionally trying to justify what we know to be true as if it was a good or acceptable thing. This makes no sense. Crowder's response is, of course, a lawsuit. That's the most rudimentary thing he could do. There's literally nothing else. Should he come out?
And I showed you guys a couple of weeks ago what this channel makes on AdRev. And it's not like I get bad views here, too. Let me look up the analytics. Hold on. Overview. The past month, it's about 10,000, 5,000 watch hours. Estimated ad revenue, ooh, it went up $39.
Go on his show and start banging gongs, screaming, "My wife is a devil witch"? No,
I mean, that's what Gerald basically did.
the first thing he would do is file a lawsuit.
That is almost exactly what Gerald did.
Idea that how dare he file a lawsuit? Well, no, it's literally what he would have to do. That's the reasonable, professional, and academic thing to do. Releasing footage to Yashar Ali is the despicable, evil thing to do.
I do not.
Despicable and evil to release footage of Crowder intimidating his 8-month pregnant wife for not fucking him and taking care of the dogs, while he sat there and said, "You're not allowed to use my car." Despicable and evil to leak the footage.
Not like the fact that they did that. I understand why you go to an opposition journalist because they're going to publish whatever. Like, I get that.
So then Crowder has to sue over it.
He doesn't have to sue over it. He
I'm
does
saying-
not. He does not have to
He
sue
doesn't-
his.
okay,
He does not have to sue his
do
wife when he knows
anything.
exactly how much
Mermaid Man, evil.
money she has
But
for $1
the
million
only
with the
thing-
company.
He doesn't have to do anything. The point is, the reasonable professional response is a lawsuit. You file in a court, you say, "Your Honor, please
clear your
stop.
name, too.
Please stop them from doing these things. It's causing damage to us."
I totally disagree.
It's defamation.
This seems undeniable, completely undeniable, to say that Crowder isn't a controlling, financially abusive guy. That seems undeniable. He didn't let her own a car. He was the only one who brought money in from his company that she worked for. And now how he's using his money to manipulate, well, I say manipulate, to keep people bogged down in the courts. It's all right there.
And it's disparagement et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, we'll see if that shakes out in the case or if it drops with the divorce.
But
because
listen,
that
lawsuits,
seems like
lawsuits aren't rulings.
that seems like the exact tactic that Jared was talking about, where you try to bury somebody in
Wait,
legal costs in order to get your outcome.
Lawsuits are not rulings.
I didn't say they are rulings.
So
but they're cost prohibitive.
Someone
ventures.
takes.
Who is Tim arguing against right here? Because it's not anything Sean is saying.
A select cut of video footage that makes me look bad and omits any and all other context, and it costs me money, the reasonable thing to do, Crowder's company probably went to a lawyer and they said, we'll file a lawsuit, harassment, defamation, etc.
What's the additional context in there? Because they're alleging that 18 seconds is removed from the video. That's what they said.
See, once again, you're equivocating and justifying. No,
I'm just asking. Like, did they say right before that video we're going to do a sketch?
You're pulling a Krasinski on me.
I'm not. I'm just asking.
Saying,
oh, Jesus Christ, Tim.
Professionally and academically, the response to something like this is a lawsuit, period. I don't care what Crowder thinks. I don't care what Hillary thinks. The Hillary camp leaks footage to Yashar Ali, an opposition journalist, which causes massive damage to Stephen Crowder. It was a huge scandal.
To the company.
To Tim personally and the company.
Well, the company's suing.
I actually don't think that anybody would care about Jared if that wasn't leaked.
The response to this, absolutely. The response to this from Crowder is, I will now file a lawsuit for this having been done. That's it.
I totally disagree that people wouldn't care about the Jared thing if not for the ring footage. Like, that was an issue when the Daily Wire.
No, people would definitely care. Dude, people cared a lot about the Dave Landau shit, and that had nothing to do with the ring footage.
Right, but the point
and people love drama. Like, that is a fact.
The point we're on is someone leaks footage to disparage you. There are emails where they're saying they want a PR campaign to get favorable terms of divorce.
They're summarizing from their lawyer, yeah.
Okay, you're doing it again. I don't understand why you have this emotional barrier to defend.
Is Tim calling this guy emotional when he was just calling stuff vile and evil?
Someone leaks footage to disparage you. There are emails where they're saying they want a PR campaign to get favorable terms of divorce.
They're summarizing from their lawyer, yeah.
Okay, you're doing it again. I don't understand why.
Tim is getting so fucking mad right now. Holy shit, it's hilarious.
It's not an emotional barrier. I'm giving the context of that email.
But that's not relevant to what
it says, here's what the lawyer tells me, and then Jared puts up these experts and he's like, look, all right, they're conspiring like that. I'm sorry, Gerald.
We'll slow down here.
Great controversy.
We're not talking about Crowder anymore. John Smith is in a dispute with Jane Smith, and Jane Smith posts a picture of him farting in a dog's face. So he says, I am going to sue you.
I think you're right. I think you're right, babe. I think that this is probably one of the last times we're going to see Sean on Tim's show because he is really making him look bad.
You said, why would he sue her? Yeah. Well, that's the reasonable response to her posting this.
That's a terrible example. I don't think that's a reasonable response.
Someone damages your company by posting embarrassing images about you. You file a lawsuit in response. We have defamation lawsuits all the time. Libel, slander, etc.
But it's not defamation or anything like that.
And by the way, though, defamation is much harder to win than a tortuous interference, because if you can prove that
it's not tortuous,
that somebody knew there was an agreement between two parties and they did something to specifically ruin that contract, it's much easier to sue for tortuous interference.
And certainly different. My point is simply, we'll end this point. Crowder responded to a PR smear with a lawsuit. That's that. Okay, what else do you do?
I have a question for you because nobody's answered this.
What was the smear? Crowder sent Jared the thing where he wanted all of his communications, all of them. So what is the smear?
Like, if 6 years after he quit, Jared was supposed to turn over text messages and discovery.
That's a damn good point. Showing how Crowder yelled at his wife isn't a smear, it's a fact. It's a thing that happened.
Which is normal in a lawsuit, and get deposed. Like, why didn't he just do that? He didn't have to spend all that money on litigation. Like, what was in those text messages that he does not want to give him over? Like, that's what makes me think that these lawyers are like, Jared, we're going to figure out a way that you don't have to turn this stuff in. Like, why is everybody helping him so that he doesn't have to turn over discovery? I mean, if you don't want to spend all that money on lawyers, it's okay. Just turn over discovery.
I agree with you on the point that there's an interesting statement from Jared about Crowder wanting ownership of his social media, while Crowder had disparaged Daily Wire for something similar. I think that's an interesting point that should be addressed. I don't know how we get to that except through court proceedings, deposition, and the release of.
No, you've been sharing your opinion on everything. Why can't you share your opinion on this as well?
And that's what's going on right now. But as far as like why you wouldn't want to turn over with Discovery, nobody wants to turn over Discovery. Like it's intrusive. This is like, well, if you're not committing any crimes, like let the government go through your phone.
He's describing it as
ham and beans. Exactly. Just give up all your rights to the rich guy. You don't need your right to privacy or your right to free speech. Crowder has money.
Legal abuse, and it's just so.
Yeah, if you bog somebody down, you can bog somebody down in legal costs, like intentionally, in order to do that. Of course you can. If you file motions against them and they have to hire representation.
But I'll clarify that. That's in a movie exaggeration that you could bury someone in paperwork. It's technically true, but people think it's like if I were to file a bunch of claims and things, the judge would say nice try and throw it in the garbage. Judges are human beings.
Sorry, I don't think that is a movie exaggeration that you can use lawfare against somebody. That doesn't sound like a movie exaggeration at all.
I mean, that did happen in the divorce case. Like, if you go to Tony Current Revolt's, because he was in the courtroom, if you go to his reporting, one of the things the judge was like, he's like, why are there so many motions? We only have 2 hours in this court.
Exactly. The judge will say, nice try, and get rid of it. The idea that you could actually, as a wealthy person, be like, I will bury you in paperwork. It's something people see in movies. The judge goes, why do you have 17 lawyers on this and 17 different filings?
Yeah, why do you have 3 different entities suing your ex-wife for talking to your friend?
You are clearly trying to waste the court's time to put pressure. There's a term for it in court. They call it, I forgot what it was.
Oh, fuck yeah. Trump. Yep.
And the judge will say no, and they throw it on we won't even read it, and they'll throw it in the garbage.
I mean, you just said that the judges will do whatever, like,
Yeah,
earlier on.
Judges are,
but here's the
thing. Jared fought with the judge. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No,
Just
go
real
ahead.
quick on the point of judges. I think, I can't speak for everybody, but having grown up watching movies and TV, I certainly at a young age had this naive interpretation of what judges did. And then when you actually go to court, you're like, oh, imagine this. Your neighbor and you are arguing over who gets the apples from the apple tree because his tree is growing onto your property. And so you go to the neighbor across the street to argue it to him. That's a judge. That's literally, he's going to be like, why are you guys?
What? No. What? I'm sorry. That's not what a judge is. Judges just don't throw out motions. Every point Tim has had here has been wrong. You don't file a motion and the judge goes, I'm not reading this. That doesn't happen.
Fighting about, and you're like, well, his tree goes into my yard, so I think the apples are mine. No, it's my tree. The apples are mine. And he's going to be like, I don't care about either of you. Take the apples that are on your side. Take the apples that are on your side and stop bothering me. That's what judges do.
Yeah, but
no, it's not. No, it's fucking not.
To be clear, I've actually had this done to me, not in a civil context, in a criminal context. When I was 12, I got wrongfully arrested. You pay a lawyer, a retainer, it covers 5 appearances. The prosecutor was trying to extend the appearances. Like, that's what the strategy was, and that would run up the cost for me and for my family. So, like, there are ways that you can extend costs
there's people that get legally
people.
abused. I just don't think that in this case Jared was legally abused. And the thing is, he spent money to fight with basically with Crowder over the 202 petition, saying I don't want to give over discovery, and they fought about it. That's why he spent money in litigation. But the judge said no. So after they fought, he lost, and then the judge said, okay, you have to give over discovery. And then Jared's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry, but you can't go in one hand and say, I want justice and this was done to me, and then say, well, I'm not going to.
No, I perfectly think you are well within your rights to go, I'm not giving you full access to every communication I have ever had on my phone, you fucking psycho. You are perfectly well within your rights.
Abide by the legal system. And then on top of it, it's like, now he's saying, the other thing that he was saying is that he was, there was like sexual stuff that was going on set and stuff like that. The thing is,
which that is very hard to believe. It's very hard to believe Crowder, the guy who wears dresses, makes people dress up like furries, and gets in out there in fucking lingerie, does weird sexual shit on set. That'd be fucking impossible. That'd be like saying that I don't do weird sexual shit on set.
I think in Texas 300 days to file a sexual harassment thing, so that was long gone. So he's really saying all that.
You can ask Phil how many times I grabbed his luscious titties.
In my opinion, he didn't care about that stuff. He didn't get sexually. They were, I don't know, it's probably some kind of, fratty type.
Oh, okay. Gerald accidentally admitted Crowder was showing his wank. Good Lord.
Thing, but was he really like traumatized over whatever happened? I don't think so.
I mean, they kind of acknowledged that happened in Gerald's video,
Maybe.
which is like they said
but I don't think Jared was traumatized. I don't think it's like a Me Too situation.
It's a Good Life Diaries. It's fucking hilarious.
And it's like,
I don't think so either.
I also think it's kind of like probably the attorneys are like, well, let's talk about what went wrong when you worked there. Like, what can we pull?
Listen, if I was at HR, I wouldn't say, look, we thought it was funny and like
no, that was weird. That was weird.
I would have been.
I must have missed that in Sean's video. It was funny at the time. It's not a good. It's not a good response.
And like, listen, don't, first of all, don't admit to that happening back and forth. Like, but like the correct response when an employee starts exposing himself is to fire said employee.
Wait, Jared was exposing himself?
That's what Gerald said in his response. He said, we're not.
He started it.
Yeah, we're not. He started it, which is like the worst defense ever.
Because I thought that was weird that they admitted to it.
Yeah. And then he was like, but we're not condemning him for it. We thought it was funny. And like Steven and Jared thought it was funny. I'm like, this is like, don't.
If someone at Timcast exposed themselves, they would never step foot on the
you'd be fine.
again.
You wouldn't.
Tim's the only one allowed to whip out that little wiener.
You wouldn't expose yourself back to them as like an
Security
ongoing
would
joke.
escort them
Yeah. You sword fight.
out, and they would wait for a vehicle, and that would be the end of it.
You wouldn't even call a vehicle. You'd be like, start hiking, like go catch a cab.
Things can be twisted.
Police vehicle.
The crazy thing
Tries to blame it on Jarrett. That's fucking hilarious.
about the corporate world people should understand is you have to do it based on law because we live in a pseudo-communist country.
A little beanie rocket. No docking on set. I'm gonna get that sign. I have to get that made somewhere in the studio. There's gonna be a sign that says no docking on set. I have the Obey thing still from They Live, and then under it, it's gonna say no docking on set.
Right? We're not a free market capitalist
Babe, are you still out there?
country. We're a mixed economy, which means there's tons of regulations, and people like to think like, why do they have these diversity trainings? They're required to by law.
Yeah.
And it's not so much by law, but by mechanism that you're legally required to have insurance. But insurance companies only insure you if you do the diversity trainings, and the companies get terrified of lawsuits because they could lose their insurance and it shuts their company down.
Yeah.
All of this crazy stuff. So if someone here were to expose themselves, the first thing we do is we call a private security company who then comes and escorts the person on camera with body cameras and all that stuff gently off the property and then waves them a polite goodbye. There was that story recently where a woman went on TikTok.
Okay, so it popped up, but it didn't pop up. Why? Why are you fucking with me, Streamlabs? Why are you fucking me? Oh, Streamlabs, why are you fucking me? This isn't about being woke. It's about people flashing at work. Well, don't you know that flashing at work is a woke issue, monkey? Get with the times, man. What the fuck, Streamlabs? Give it a second. God damn. No, that's not the right scene. Jesus Christ.
And claimed a guy shoved her
What the fuck? Now it's just frozen on screen? Oh my lord.
down the stairs. Did you
Oh fuck, hold on.
see this one?
No.
And then the bar released the footage.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, I did see that. Oh, that made me so mad.
And so why did the bar have security come escort her out politely with cameras? Because you're required. So like, especially a public accommodation where you're letting people in, legal requirement to have insurance. Or not even necessarily legal requirement. It could be like any standard business needs a loan to finance the property and the equipment for. Okay, in order to get the loan, you need the insurance. In order to get the insurance, you got to have cameras. In order to get the insurance, also you need security guards.
Right.
This is exactly why.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, so probably the most.
I think HR is largely garbage, but not showing your dangle at work shouldn't be an issue. You would think most people know to keep their bits put away. HR is more there for, you know, that really funny joke you told the other day? Well, HR wants to hear it too. That's what they're there for. But, you know, some people clearly don't understand that you can't whip out your ding-dang at work. It's fucking bonkers to me. So are we just not playing? Is this what's happening? We're not gonna play anything. Is it just that donation? Will this one play? Nope, none of them.
Most egregious statement that Taylor Lorenz wrote in the New York Times about me. She wrote a statement basically saying that I leaked nude photos of a client for revenge because he was trying to leave. This is after she, in pre-publication, before she published the article, she said, you know, we heard that Ari was doing this, and my attorney said, absolutely not, that's defamatory. And she said, well, we're not saying that she leaked them publicly. So in the article it says, Ari, she leaked my nudes. I mean, she acknowledged that we're not saying that Ari leaked nudes, and then she leaked my nudes. So what actually happened?
So there are nudes of her out there? This girl?
Is that I was representing a 25-year-old guy, and another manager texted me, and I was representing like TikTok houses, and there was a house full of girls and a house full of guys. And the manager said that...
I don't know why it's not working, Fustonia. I am very sorry. Streamlabs has been giving me guff the past hour. Time for a banter break with some John Wick violence that didn't play. Oh,
yep,
now it is.
That's me. You're probably wondering...
No?
How I ended up in this...
Hold on. Good God, hold on.
This guy is sending nude photos to a 14-year-old girl. So imagine as a manager, if I hadn't looked into that. So I took, and I said, what are you talking about? They sent me just like, and how do you know about that? Well, it's in a chat room with 100,000 people. Anyway, I take the message, I send it to my HR person who's under NDA, to my lawyer, and to the guy that was being accused. And I said, did you do this? What's the deal? Oh no, somebody broke into my iCloud and leaked all my messages. It's all in a text message. So, you know, I think I was doing my moral ethical duty to look into like, is this guy that I'm representing sending nudes to 14? And what did it turn out? In the New York Times, it looks like I'm a total.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
First.
Weirdo that's, you know, leaking my clients' nudes. I mean, that's how they can twist the stories. And these people are professionals. I mean, it was wild. When I was a little girl, I thought the New York Times was like, you know what I mean? If you get an article in the New York Times, you hang it up on the wall, you put it on the front. I didn't know they could do this.
Here's how crazy it is. They could go to a homeless guy and they can say, how would you like to be an anonymous source that makes this claim?
Yep.
Homeless guy says, done. They go, got it. They then go publish a story claiming the actual justice warrior was caught selling bananas to children on a playground or something, according to our sources. And then when you file a defamation suit and you say this is a false statement of fact.
Will you make me a sign that says no docking on set, please?
Fact, they say we have an anonymous source who confirmed that you did it. And then when the lawsuit comes and the judge orders the journalist, they go, I will never reveal my.
Streamlabs is just super laggy today. I don't know what's going on.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended.
Kilimanjaro, kill Catastrophe, kill Apocalypse, Open Season, Killionaire, Killing Frenzy, Running Riot, Buck Wild.
There we go. Okay, that one seemed to work. Thank you, Festonia. It could be Streamlabs. It could be my computer, how it's running right now. I don't know. Shelly said, huh? Will you make me a sign that says no docking on set?
My source.
And they don't have to.
Well, no, they'll be held in contempt. And I think the law.
Get a pregnant woman to apply medication to slabs. Are there any pregnant women in the chat or any women I can make pregnant to do this for me?
Journalists have protections.
They have like a shield law, but there are
you'll still be held in
circumstances,
contempt.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you can be held in contempt of court, but typically it's like if a journalist fabricates a story to make their career, they can simply rest on, I will never reveal my sources, and gladly spend 2 months in jail and then come out a martyr and a hero.
Yeah. Right.
It's crooked.
And
Evil
when
people.
they go after some, like in that situation, they were not expecting that I was going to sue the New York Times. When I went to the lawyers that I had at the time, they're like, sweetheart, like you got
You'll
slam dunk.
All of this because of the
Company must have offered your attorneys a settlement, right?
So I don't want to get into too much detail because of the settlement itself. You know, afterwards they say you'll never disparage the company or whatever. But the issue was basically keeping it vague. The company came back and said, okay, it's been 6 months. We'll give each of your clients about $7,000 and then we're done with it. Otherwise.
Sorry, guys. What the fuck is docking? It's how gay guys refuel in midair.
Of course, Johnny Depp's a terrible guy, even though like he ended
up
winning that case.
And there's counterpoints to be made. Like someone could say he kicked my dog, and then you respond, the dog was biting me. You know what I mean?
My question is, why are so many people triggered by this? Like Jared, so like I spoke out because I saw some inconsistencies, and there's literally people like on X that are huge influencers that I thought I was friendly with that like unfollowed me, didn't want to talk to me anymore, and I'm just like, why is this so? Why are people so? I guess
one of the big issues that actually was the reason why I was like, hey, we should do a show on this was the conservative feminists who came out being like, Crowder should have to pay. And like this idea that, so, you know, what I said
Monkey says docking is how you know you're really good friends.
Was Crowder is paying $25,000 a month. It's a temporary.
The conservative feminists. The conservative feminists.
Order during the proceedings. It's been stated by numerous people, but everyone's arguing what's true and what's not. So it is in dispute, I suppose. But the Crowder estate, which is both the Crowder and his wife, are paying the legal fees of
No, the Crowder estate is Crowder.
all the lawyers involved. So which makes sense considering you're splitting up assets in a divorce anyway. Crowder then has to additionally pay $25,000 to her per month, which she's then using for all of her legal fees in response to the Crowder lawsuit, which is separate.
This isn't accurate. So in Texas, so I looked this up because I assumed this to be true because I was like, this is so like bold. So in Texas, at the end of a divorce, the estate will cover the fees. That is something that will happen. But the presumed rule in Texas is that you have to put up the money in the beginning of the proceedings. So since Crowder's a stay-at-home mom, Hillary Crowder, obviously.
Both Crowder.
Yeah, both Crowders are stay-at-home moms. It's a really weird divorce case. She has to file a petition, and then they allot her a certain amount of money. That amount is the $25,000. That temporary court order is supposed to cover her attorney fees and minimal living expenses, because the idea is if you marry somebody and you get them to leave their job, like Steven did, she was making more money when they got married, and
do we know how much?
He said in the past that he wanted the traditional life. So even though she was making more money, because they married 10 years, like he was starting out, so that you can't just like run up the cost on them when they can't literally have any lawyer. Like, so this is different from like whether you're using lawfare or whatever. And so that's what the 25,000 is for. Like, that's what it's supposed to be covered. And that's why it's a temporary motion. But like, you had said at one point it's child support. It's not child support. Texas caps child support even at the max end at like $9,200. So it's definitely not that. This is to cover her legal costs. But there's been additional
Look up sounding. I know what that is.
documents that she has incurred way more lawyer bills. Lauren Southern actually published it in her video, the actual ruling by the judge that had to have him set aside additional money, because you do have to pay for these individual motions and all these different hours related to the case. So that money has been wildly misinterpreted on purpose, by the way, by Gerald, that this is money that she's putting in her pocket in order to spend. It's just not true.
That is wildly misinterpreted. Wow.
My view on this, what I tweeted was, okay, fair point on the child support. If it's not child support, it was like a temporary, it's like an allotment he has to pay her during the proceedings.
And that's to protect Crowder, right? Because if it was the estate that just paid unlimited, then she could do like, what a lot of people think he's doing, where you're just running up the cost on the estate. So by the time the divorce is over,
and so my point is,
he's bankrupt.
My point was that he has to pay her for, I believe she initiated the divorce.
She filed, but like, remember, she filed after Crowder had already hired a lawyer.
Tim is making really good points, or I'm sorry, Sean is making really good points that Tim is just ignoring.
Lawyer and moved out of the house and cut her off financially. So like, technically she initiated the divorce and legal.
Ham and Beans, I hope you're happy. I am having Miss Sin make me a sign that says no docking on set.
Documents.
I think she's entitled to nothing during these proceedings. And I think the problem is no fault divorce. And I think we're not dealing with a traditional at-fault divorce. We're dealing with irreconcilable differences. And I think the real answer should have been that when problems arose, a judge told them both, STFU, you are in a marriage. It is a sacred covenant. You will not do X, Y, and Z. The problem I have with this is marriage has become dating. It's dating with like strings attached in the financial world after the fact.
Marriage has become dating. No.
No. Don't get married if you don't get married, okay? If you don't want to get into a position where you have to file for a divorce and hire lawyers for these reasons, then don't get married at all. And so the issue is...
Yeah, just stay with your wife. Be unhappy. Be a man.
It's not so much like, in this argument I'm making, it's not to do with Hillary or Steven specifically. It's about the fact that...
No, this is specifically Hillary and Steven, because that's what brought this on.
That we live in this world where people get married and then go, you know what? It was a mistake. Let's sever ties. You pay me. Okay, hold on. This whole thing is broken.
Okay, so would you rather people just stay in unhappy marriages because you don't like the idea of divorce? Like, I don't understand what his point is here other than divorce bad.
The whole thing is broken. The other point, so like Lauren Southern responded to me saying, or she responded in general to many people. So what? Hillary gives up her job for Steven, but now that they're getting a divorce, she has no money. And I'm like, even if she kept her job, she would never have anywhere near as much money as Steven Crowder has. Like, so I don't appreciate this argument that Crowder, as a wealthy man,
I gotta hear that
she
again.
has no money. And I'm like, even if she kept her job, she would never have anywhere near as much money as Steven Crowder has.
So?
Like, so I don't appreciate this argument that Crowder, as a wealthy man, pays her $25K a month. If Steven Crowder was worth nothing and had no job,
he's not paying her $25K a month.
We wouldn't be having this argument. So it's not an issue of whether she's entitled to as a woman.
It doesn't matter. His employment status does not matter. compared to what they built together as a couple. This is the clip I saw on Twitter, and even this third time watching it, it's like, Tim, have you thought this out at all? So you're anti-birth control, you're anti-divorce, so just get married and stay unhappy. You know, if your husband cheats on you, deal with it, bitch.
And give up her job. It's an issue of Steven has money, therefore they think he should pay. So there's an interesting...
No, Steven has money because they built this empire together over 10 years. She was an unpaid employee, did not take a wage, and that's why he has money.
Phenomenon here that for some reason has emerged in this particular case, where you're seeing a lot of these traditional conservatives actually come out as full-on feminists.
Yes, take unmarried Tim Pool's relationship advice.
As soon as it comes to the issue of divorce.
I don't think it's feminist at all. If you want,
But it literally
if you
is.
want to incentivize traditional marriage, like you can't like put one party in a position where they get totally like ripped off in case of a divorce.
You're correct. And the
like,
response is to not...
But no, Tim, you cannot agree with both. You cannot go traditional marriage is the way to go. But if you ever break up, you get nothing for being a traditional housewife. You cannot do both. You absolutely cannot have both takes.
The feminist response is to say that all these women need to like store away money in case of a divorce.
No, it isn't.
Like in order to pay for it. Like
the traditional response to how you fix marriage is divorce is not allowed.
Okay, but
says who? We're feminists now, Sin? Fuck yeah, full circle, baby.
There's rare circumstances where like a guy is threatening to murder and beating his wife and his kids.
Like yelling, watch it or else to his pregnant wife like that.
Infidelity is one of these things. These are people who I don't think those accusations are on the table. They're mostly just angry with each other and yelling at each other and they're not getting along. That's where a judge comes in and says, you are grown adults. You will behave appropriately. You have children.
Does Tim understand what a judge is? Because I really don't think he knows what a judge is.
Those children need functioning parents. You will treat this relationship properly.
I sat through a messy custody hearing. The judge never treated us like children. Well, I say us. I'm the one who showed up. But the judge never talked down to us or was condescending. But should a housewife get $25K a month? If her ex-husband is suing her through 3 or 4 different avenues and then didn't think it through, realized that he would have to pay the bills and she has the kids and he has all the money from the relationship, yes, he should.
Properly, get therapy, and at the very least, if you don't like being around each other, you will be professional. And you chose this covenant. We now as a society, this is why it is absolutely a feminist position to say we should allow for divorce over irreconcilable differences.
But like, what do you?
Yes. Does Tim not know what irreconcilable means? We should allow for divorce over irreconcilable differences. Yeah. Tim, yes. Yes. Correct.
They're advocating for them to like live in the same house when they don't like each other. Like,
yes,
that's crazy.
Tim is fucking insane. Yes, they should be forced to live in the same house, even though they don't like each other. That is fucking sane, Tim.
I think that then don't get married. Don't get married. This is what I'm saying. You don't.
Yes, because oh my god, oh wow. People change. People change and grow throughout their entire life. Just because you fell in love at 22 doesn't mean you're still going to be in love at 32 or 42. Ham and beans. People change. They grow. They turn into different people. Their values change. That what they want out of life changes. It's a thing that happens. 300K a year, that is, I guarantee you that's less than, 300K is less than 10% of what Crowder makes a month. This is the dumbest take I've ever seen from Tim.
don't have to get married. Nobody made them do it. They said, let's get married. And then, and then 10 years later, they're like, I'm having fun. I quit.
So in your like theory of like how this should work, like, so you should be able to theoretically, using an example very like not related to this at all. Like, you know, let's say you're media.
This is a great example of somebody using their personal beliefs and wanting to change the law so other people have to follow their beliefs. Yeah, if your spouse becomes an alcoholic or a drug addict, just make the kids grow up with that because divorce is bad. You know, he really turned into a scummy drug piece of shit. He was passing out on H while we were at the breakfast table, but it's really good for the kids that he's around. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Personality. And you move out, buy a townhouse, and then you cut your wife off financially. Like, you should be able to do that. There should be no court redress for that.
That's
what happened.
Tim, that's what you're saying.
That's what happened in this case. So, no, as long as you don't get divorced, though.
No, the judge will say, stop.
Tim gets so fucking angry.
You are married, STFU. You will both be in this house.
This is not what judges do.
Of course, though.
No, the judge will say, stop. You are married, STFU. You will both be in this house. You will raise your kids. You will stop fighting, and you will get therapy. If you don't.
This is so unbelievably unrealistic. You know what this really tells me right here? Honestly, more than anything, besides the fact that Tim is living in a fantasy world, he has zero life experience. He has no life experience at all. He has never had a friend or somebody he knows and cares about go down a bad road. This is just complete ignorance from the top down. This is wanting the legal system to enforce your beliefs. That's what this is.
Want to get married, don't get married.
You just said that you don't trust judges in the way that they handle people with money versus no money, and now you're like, the
Totally
judge
separate
needs to
argument.
assess whether or not you should live in the same house?
That's completely irrelevant to the point that I'm making.
No, it's not. It's absolutely fucking not. Do you have the stream sped up? Yeah, it's at 1.25.
Okay, so let's talk about if you don't want to get married, you don't get married. Instead, the progressive, feminist, and liberal response has been,
what is the...
let's weaken the institution of marriage. And I'm like, whoa, leave marriage as it is. People just don't have to get married. People.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to get married.
Need to understand. And part of me, I'm kind of glad we're seeing all this, because when you see the shocking reality of divorce, many people realize like, uh-oh, there's a problem here. Maybe I shouldn't get married. Maybe you shouldn't. If you get married and you swear an oath till death do us part, I do not believe you should be allowed to get divorced unless except in extreme circumstances.
This is... I don't think that he actually believes this. Unless he seriously has zero life experience, zero anything. I'm calling him Tim Pearl from now on. He's, first off, I don't believe he believes this at all. I don't think he believes any of this at all. I don't think that he genuinely, in his heart of heart, thinks that what he's saying right now is the way it should be. Second off, I think he's getting paid. Because I might be giving him too much credit, but I think he is smarter than this. Marriage is one thing, family is another. Yeah.
Like traditionally what it used to be was infidelity, abuse, criminal activity, things like this. With the issue, with the Crowders, yes, I very much believe a family court judge should say, the problem here is two people who don't get along. Be adults, grow up, shut your mouths, do not fight in front of the kids. That's it.
Okay, so let me, because...
This is just no life experience. You think that if you don't fight in front of the kids that they can't fucking tell? That the kids just can't tell something's going on?
I mean, like, that's like an ideal, like, perception of what should be. But, like, let's say that meets your parameters for something that you can get divorced over, okay? But you have a traditional...
Like abuse and stuff.
Yeah. Well, like, not this case, but, like, let's say a theoretical
beating his
case.
wife.
Yeah, something like that. So, in that particular case, like let's say one of the people is same situation, makes all the income, the other person gave up their job 10 years ago. Like, should they be able to run up the costs and like when the other person can't afford an attorney, be frozen out of the estate, even though that estate?
You think it's too easy to get a divorce? I know it's not an easy procedure or easy decision or something like that. I've been in many long-term relationships, only really considered marriage for one of them. And I don't go into something with it planning to fail, but realizing that that could happen at some point is just being human. It's just being realistic. So I don't think marriage or divorce are decisions that are made lightly or easy to do or any of that stuff. But I think that in the long run, if you are genuinely unhappy with somebody that you genuinely were happy with, it is way better for everyone involved, up to and including children, to call it splits.
In Texas law,
it's not a singular.
That's a good point. Okay, but what if they do keep fighting in front of the kids? Does a judge say you go to jail, the kids go to foster care?
Scenario, in the instance of, say, abuse, a woman shows up to the police covered in blood with teeth missing, and then they go, okay, we're arresting the guy. Now the guy's not working.
But I'm saying if you eventually file for divorce in that kind of situation, like how should the attorneys be paid for?
In
state-funded attorneys, baby.
Situation of like a woman is being mercilessly beaten.
Yeah, like an abuse situation that meets your criteria for divorce, right?
I think perhaps then yes, the estate itself would be used to fund the proceeding.
Does he realize the people like us don't have estates? Like we have bill money. We don't have estates. I think that's the reason prenups exist. Divorces happen if someone is very wealthy and they don't want to split the money they made during the marriage. Yeah.
For both sides, like Texas law says.
If you have one person who can't pay or whatever, or like I'm talking about during the proceedings.
The family is a dual income, like they file jointly, they're married or whatever. But
that's not what Crowder's was. That's not what it was.
Should be that the divorce lawyers are paid. Now, I think the issue there is you don't really have the same kind of divorce law when you have evidence of clear violations of fault in a divorce. Now, that being said, infidelity is where things do get particularly troubling. And I know a lot of people then say, Tim, the problem here is women will fabricate or men will fabricate. They'll accuse each other of infidelity. And I'm like, yeah, bad people do bad things. How about you don't get married?
Well, I think the reason you got so much.
Okay, so Tim's take is abolish the institution of marriage.
Pushback is because like the practical reality is that a lot of people on the right are pushing for a more traditional like stay at home like kind of marriage situation. Now I'm getting married, but my fiance is gonna make pretty good money. Like she's currently working on her career and all that. But like I would expect if I got her to stay at home, if like we were to get divorced, that I wouldn't be able to drown her in legal costs and like half your estates or whatever. Texas,
according to Tim, you should be able to.
If you were poor.
Well, first of all, if you're poor,
if you were poor,
same thing. If I didn't have the money to cover it,
she
and like we're married, from our joint estate,
yeah. My problem is no fault divorce. It's not that Crowder has to pay. It's that it's no fault divorce. Like getting divorced.
My problem is that no fault divorce exists, and it's a thing. It's called no fault divorce, and I don't like it. What?
For we're fighting a lot.
But I'm saying this is why you're getting pushback. It's like the misstatement of the 25K, which to be fair, that was put out intentionally, I believe, by Louder with Crowder to make it seem like it's greedy Hillary. That was their narrative. And then it's the idea that like, yeah, the traditional housewife gets totally screwed under your scenario
but why is
if there
unfair,
is a divorce.
Why is it unfair to criticize Jared? That's what I'm like. So I wasn't getting involved in the whole thing. And people were like, I made a funny video of, it was like, have you seen The Social Network? When they're basically, it was about the Facebook and they basically have one of the partners sign a contract and he comes in, he's really mad at Mark Zuckerberg because he signed the contract. And he basically signed away his shares, but he signed it. And I mean, they had litigation over. Anyway, I made like a funny video. I'm like, not gay Jared, I thought was like a comedian. And people were just like, you are so, they're treating Jared like he's this dainty flower that can't be criticized. And I'm like, why? I mean, why can't we just criticize? And it's all these people. And I'm guessing it's because of the Hillary thing that they're so triggered by it. But it's like, you should be able to ask questions about Jared.
I think a lot of people don't like Steven Crowder, to be fair. Yep. That's 100% built into this process. I don't find myself in this camp. Like, I don't care about the divorce. I didn't even know his wife's name until this whole thing came up. Like, that's the way I want to live with people in their personal life.
The people who hate Crowder say things like, Tim's friends with Crowder. That's why he's doing this. I'm like, I think I've talked to Crowder 10 times in my life.
But that's the thing. So there's always going to be a huge portion of people that if you come out against Crowder, it doesn't matter. They're going to be on that side.
Do you agree that if you're like dunking on Taylor Lorenz and all these journalists all the time
God,
because they're using shady tactics, they twist up?
Skip.
Claiming
I don't
to
care
be
what you're
Jared.
saying.
And
Like, but why?
there is a clicking element. Like these are all like the case. Like, you know, people don't like Steven. So anybody who says anything, even if it wasn't Jared and it was just a random guy claiming to be Jared, and we all knew it wasn't him because it was like some Asian dude, and we've all seen what Jared looks like. There would be people mad that you didn't take the fake Jared side.
Like,
let me read
Pearl?
real quick. It's a super chat. Little Rock says, an attorney, Louder with Crowder, can address what has been said by Jared, and they can talk about what has been filed as a complaint, response, or exhibits. There was no violation by Gerald, and he was advised by an attorney, and everything he said was reviewed. So you asked why don't they address the issue of seizing his social media accounts. I'm not a lawyer, so I wouldn't. But my assumption would be this. I don't know if this guy's actually a lawyer or not.
Yeah. But it sounded like he was saying that he could have addressed it in that super chat.
No, he's saying they didn't because they could only address. Oh, no, you're right. Yes, you are correct. Yeah.
As an attorney, Louder with Crowder can address. Okay.
Could have addressed what Jared had said.
Like that's the issue I had, because I'm like, I'll hear both sides. Like my issue with Jared is like, he's like, I can't tell his side. So full disclosure, and it was for the meme. I donated $1 more specifically than Ben Shapiro just for the meme. Like, when in my life am I ever going to be able to spend more money than Ben Shapiro on anything? Like,
wait, to Jared?
Yeah.
$500.
What did Ben give him?
Ben gave him $500, and as soon as it was confirmed it was him on his Twitter account, I was like, $501. I'm better than Ben Shapiro. Like, for the meme. But like,
wait, Ben Shapiro gave Jared $500.
Yeah.
I can't believe anybody gave Jared money.
Yeah, because it was just going to go to you. There's a guy right in front of you that gave him $501, and Tim's like, I don't believe it.
I totally can.
As soon as I saw this, I was like, wait a minute.
I 100% can.
He's saying he needs money because of a non-disparagement, non-disclosure, but he's violating it right now.
Well, it's like
immediately I was like, what?
It's the impending legal action or whatever you do need money for lawyers if you're going to get into a legal battle.
I immediately found it odd that a guy claiming he needs legal fees to fight an NDA was violating the NDA. I'm like, well, you already violated it. What do you need? Like, if you are, so when I was a kid,
because Jared wants to be able to work.
My friends would be like, I was like, hey, you want to go skate? And like, I can't, I'm grounded. And I would go, what does that mean? And they're like, well, I can't go outside. And I'm like, why not? Because I'm grounded. What'll happen if you go outside?
Tim, if you try to skate anymore, you'd break a fucking hip.
What do you mean? I can't. I'm like, no, let's like.
Fostonia out there just talking mad shit. Hey, Chad, do you see the stream boss? That's right. It's me. Knock me off. I dare you. There you go.
Take your skateboard, go outside, what happens? I'll get grounded more. And I'm like, okay, so you're grounded longer? Then what happens? What do you mean I can't go outside again? I'm like, what happens if you're grounded longer and then you go outside again? They'll ground me even longer. And I was like, do you see where we're going with this? So the dude doesn't have the money he doesn't have money.
Tim, that is the dumbest fucking analogy I've ever heard.
In general. He's under legal action, which you can't get blood from a turnip.
Right.
And what do they say? There's a saying there's another saying related to this in law, suing someone who's penniless or something like that. And you'll always lose or whatever. Mm-hmm. So he's like, help, I need money because I'm under an NDA that I'm currently in violation of right now. So I don't fear the consequences of losing the case because I will instantly as soon as they show the video I used for the fundraiser. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Yeah, but
so it's flushing money down the toilet.
He could presumably win with his NLRB complaint.
Here's another red flag, by the way, guys, is like the day after he raises all this money, was it Quartering posted something and he reposted and he's like, if you keep saying these opinions about me, I'm going to sue you. And like, first of all, you can't.
Well, the Quartering's take was just as mind-numbing.
Sue for defamation over opinion. So like, nobody should be taking legal advice from Jared, okay? And then his attorney, because I called it out, I called a couple things out, and his attorney starts responding to me. And I've
heard that he skates and he's in a band. I've also heard that he is part Korean.
It was like, well, basically the attorney says, well, if somebody talks bad about you, you should just like say, the opposite thing. You just come out and say the other thing. And I'm like, for an attorney to be like, make it so simple of like.
All right, this bitch is annoying me. We are way over time. Okay, this will be interesting. I would like to take another look at this at some point. I feel like it would be worth looking into, especially as it evolves. But guys, keep an eye out for. Oh yeah, that's true, Monkey. It wasn't really an opinion. He accused Jared of banging Hillary. Guys, keep an eye out for the Sin and Sash stream tomorrow at 3, and then the AAA, maybe AAA. I don't know if either way, a AAA meeting tomorrow somewhere, and then Tucker on Twitch on Thursday. Guys, thank you for coming and hanging out. Thank you for a real good and interesting stream. I will see you tomorrow.